Election 2024 is over. America has voted, and both sexism and racism have won the day. On Liberal Dan Radio, we will hold everyone accountable, from the media that failed to report the threat that Trump poses to this nation, to the people who supported him. We will pick up the mantle to educate the people about his actions, from being dictator on day one, pardoning January 6th domestic terrorists, implementing Project 2025, and any other draconian measures he tries to pass. And now, the resistance begins. The phone number is 562-LibDan1, 562-542-3261, but we won't open them yet. We have a bunch of stuff to go into, but after we finish the most well-prepared portion of the show that I think I've ever been in the history of the Liberal Dan radio podcast, radio show, whatever you want to call it, I think at least. I did a lot of preparation for tonight's show. You'll see. That being said, you can always leave comments in the chat either on liberaldanradio.com, which is the YouTube channel, or twitch.tv/liberaldanradio. Either way is a good chat room to be in. I try and read the chats as much as I can. We'll be making a lot of videos today that we will upload after the show. I might have to do some editing even then, because we'll be chopping up one of the big ones as well, because there's a lot of stuff to go over, i.e. Donald Trump's executive orders versus Project 2025. Part 1, because I didn't get all of them that we've gone through. I found a bunch of them with similarities to Project 2025, as nobody should be surprised about. But then again, there's going to be plenty more to do. This administration is going to give lots of content to the podcast. And I didn't want that. As I said before the election, I'd much rather have a boring podcast where we make funny jokes and joke about, impeccable livings, hookups, and try and do some dark British humor, as we just discussed in the chat. I'd rather have that than have President Harris be a president than have to worry about what Cheeto Mussolini's going to be doing in the realm of, American politics, world politics, etc. But we will be getting into those topics and some other ones that are happening. First of all, let's go into the chat room and see who's here. Early birds. The early bird gets the worm. We got the mod squad, Aaron and Jolie here. We also have Andrea, part of Hal's mods. So welcome, Andrea. You are one of the other people who are very helpful in the how popular my show is. Without you, I don't think I'd be on Hal as much. I wouldn't be on here as much, etc. So thank you all for that. We got Val in the van. We got Mad Mac. Steve from across the pond. Let's see. Skip. Alton Gillespie, Suzanne, Jeff. Let's see. What else? Anybody else? I missed anybody else? I don't think I've missed anybody yet. But we do have 12 people in, so somebody may not have said hey yet. But just do remember to smash that like button. And then the patriarchy. We got Roxanne. You don't have to put on the red light. Sorry, gotta always do that. Jackie, good to see you as well. To support the show, the most important thing is to smash that like button, share the live stream, invite other friends to join in on the fun. Comment, do as many, hit the little heart button and get like the hundreds going if you agree, hearts if you like, laughs if I make it funny, whatever. Just put a whole bunch of, stuff in the chat to make sure that the algorithms get hit. Go to other videos when we're not airing live, like, comment, share, etc. Put the links on Blue Sky, put the links on Facebook, Twitter, anywhere you're on social media, share the links out. Al Gore needs more rhythm. If you want to support the show financially, there is always super chat, super stickers here on liberaldanradio.com. You also have the option to buy a membership as little as $2 a month, or gift memberships as well. You can go over to Twitch if you have Amazon Prime. It doesn't cost you anything. You just have to re-up it every month. I think I actually have to do my own re-upping of myself in a few minutes, or whenever, if we're playing anything. But it is what it is. And then, sorry, Donald, I'm trampling all over your lines. And then we have Venmo, Liberal Dan on Venmo. We have the Buy Me a Cider. You could either go to buymeacoffee.com/LiberalDanRadio, or just go to liberaldan.com, click the Buy Me a Cider button, and one-time contribution. Or if you want to be month to month, you can go to patreon.com/LiberalDan or patreon.liberaldan.com. Either way gets you there. And hold on, I think I did have a notification on Patreon, because I think I do have a new patron that joined up. Arizona Sunflowers became a member of OG Listener. I don't think I had any OG listeners left, but Arizona Sunflower still has a OG listener signed up as an OG Listener member. So thank you very much, Arizona Sunflowers, for becoming a Liberal Dan Radio patron as well. Shouts out to all of the current Liberal Dan Radio patrons. We've got, let's see, Arizona Sunflowers, Robert Reynolds, Bill P., Jolie, Aaron, let's see, Cesar. Got all those folks who are joining in and who are the patrons right now of Liberal Dan Radio. So thank you all very much for that. I'm sure I'll be able to come up with something fancy sometime soon to be able to actually do that in the scroll like Hal does. So we'll see. What's going on, Dean? Good to see you. Thank you for joining in the show. Yeah, I don't like black ice either, although that's one of the things, it's very funny. Because we had some people were calling it the flurry hurricane, or a flurricane. They were calling it a flurricane down here, which is kind of clever. I was calling it, what was it? The big freezy is what I was calling it. Before the pandemic, my wife and I and family would always go up to see my family up in Baltimore, and she would always be upset and disappointed that we would never get to see snow. Like, the closest I think we came to seeing snow is either existing snow piles that existed before we got there. One time we were in New York for a day, and it kind of sleeted on us. It was kind of a half sleet. It was a wintry mix, kind of half sleet, half snow. But to think that she had to wait for the snow to come down here and give us like 8 to 12 inches of snow in New Orleans is her first time getting to see some real snow. She dates a Yankee for this long. She marries a Yankee. We go up there, every winter before the pandemic, and her first chance of seeing real snow is, here in New Orleans. Who'da thunk it? Very, very, very odd. Very weird indeed. Very weird times. But there's no climate change going on. None whatsoever. Can't be that, right? It has to be something else that's causing these drastic storms to come hit us. More hurricanes, more cold weather blizzards, more drastic shifts in weather patterns, etc. Can't be man-made. Couldn't be us doing anything. The fact that we haven't seen this much snow in over a century, a once-in-a-lifetime snow event, couldn't be. Saturday night, I went in a gas station to take a leak. They were robbed while I was in the bathroom. Oh my God, that's insane. I guess you're glad you had to go take a leak, huh? When going to the bathroom saved my life, or saved myself from getting robbed, that's crazy. See, Suzanne, trolls don't come to suffragettes. Too much rough housing over there. It was hilarious the other day. What was it? With 5 eggs and who else was doing it? 5 eggs, whatever, kind of took over Benny and Diane's show. It was freaking hilarious. And they were just having a good old time, just hijacking the show. It was great. It was a really good time. So if you haven't noticed yet, Paul, okay, thank you for that, Jackie. If you haven't noticed yet, I do have a pinned link to something on liberaldan.com. And if you go to liberaldan.com, the first post, or if you just click the pinned link, the first post on there currently is the text of Project 2025. Because I don't trust that these people aren't going to take it down once we realize, and once more people realize, that the amount of executive orders that are coming out and the actions that are being done by Donald Trump and this administration are going to mirror almost exactly much of the things that are being discussed about in Project 2025. So in order for y'all to follow along at home, I wanted to make sure to give you a link to the document if you don't already have it, so you can make sure to be able to follow along if you want to, because on the screen we're going to be showing something different. I guess we could maybe show both. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how this one goes, and maybe later we'll do a side-by-side comparison of all the stuff that's going on. But until then, we're just gonna. I'll give you the page numbers to look for, and that's what you look for when it comes to comparing the text of the the executive orders and the other executive actions done by Orange Folius, MAGA von Schützenpants, Cheeto Mussolini, whatever you want to call them. But look, I watched news a bunch of today. I haven't seen anybody on the news doing this sort of in-depth reporting. There may very well be other people that are doing this type of in-depth reporting, and good for them. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but we cannot trust the mainstream media. They've proven themselves to be not trustworthy when it comes to going in deep into the details to get y'all what you want to know and what you need to know to be able to fight back against these fools. We still have people trying to deny that Elon Musk made a Nazi salute. It was the image had to be censored in Europe, if that tells you anything as to what they believe about it being, whether or not it's a Nazi salute or not. We showed it here on the show on Monday's show. He clearly did that motion, and the same motion that another Nazi did in a court in Europe. And Elon Musk is currently supporting a far right, German party, because he's been tweeting something with like MAGA, make Europe great again. When does he think Europe was great? That's the question that needs to be asked to any of these MAGA folks. When do you think Europe was great? And he'll probably say, between 1933 and 1945. That's probably when he thinks that Europe was great. So there you go. See, Dean Baker, isn't Project 2025 what Trump is issuing right now? Well, that's the thing, and we'll be going over that. But Donald Trump denied any connection to Project 2025. Conservatives are going to deny that connection existed. So we're just going to prove, without a shadow of a doubt, that Project 2025 is absolutely is actually being implemented now, live and in living color, via Donald Trump's executive orders, executive actions, etc. But as you know, as a reminder for everybody who watches the show, if you're new to the show or whatever, just as a reminder, we will be doing several videos where we record the videos as I'm doing them, and then that will be done. And at the end of each video, I'll say, what do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Make sure to leave your comments below, like whatever, blah, blah, blah. And just know I'm not ending the show at that time. Everybody who's been here a long time knows that. But if you just happen to be new to the show, just want to remind y'all that me sounding like I'm ending the show will not be it won't end the show until you hear the outro music. That's when the show ends. So, but we got several other stuff to talk about first. The first thing I want to talk about tonight is the Fraternal Order of Police, because we rightly mocked the Fraternal Order of Police. I think the Fraternal Order of Police was a hypocrite of the week one week because of the fact that they're supposed to be for law and order and stand up for law-abiding citizens or what have you against criminality, but they endorsed a 34-time convicted felon, i.e. Donald Trump, to be president of these United States. And we told them, look, you're being hypocrites about this. How can you support a felon for president if you're in law enforcement? But they also knew 100% without a shadow of a doubt that Donald Trump was going to be pardoning the J6 insurrectionists, the terrorists, those who he called, political prisoners. No, they were terrorists. They committed acts of violence against police officers. They broke into the building. They damaged property. They stole property. And their intent was to stop and halt a government process from happening because they didn't like that MAGA von Schitz's pants didn't get elected again. So they were terrorists. And Donald Trump has now aided and abetted those terrorists. But they knew, the Fraternal Order of Police knew that this is something that he was going to be campaigning on. And now that he's pardoned people, including people who assaulted police officers, and now that he's telling the Attorney General to go through and get every other case that hasn't been finished dismissed without prejudice, so that people like Jake Lang, who is on camera using a bat, using the police shield that he took from the police and went after that's what he was charged with, attacking police. That's were matters of his indictment. And now they're crying that Donald Trump went ahead and pardoned these people. You knew it was going to happen, you fools. You absolutely knew. Maybe if they would stop eating donuts and get their head out of the donut tray and start actually, paying attention to what the hell they were doing, they would have realized that the person that they endorsed was going to pardon and or commute the sentences of these individuals who committed acts of violence against the people that you're supposed to protect as the Fraternal Order of Police. So they can miss me with all that crying and moaning and complaining about what Donald Trump did. You knew it was going to happen. You effed around, and now we're in the find out phase. So welcome to the world of finding out, Fraternal Order of Police. I hope it doesn't screw you in the end and screw the people who you're supposedly supposed to represent and, push for via your endorsements. Anyway, what do you think? Are you a conservative who can't see the hypocrisy in all this? Do you agree with this, with the fact that, the Fraternal Order of Police is all mad? Or do you think that they're ridiculous as well, just like I do, in complaining about something that they knew was going to happen? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, share, subscribe, and have a good day. Unless you're a Nazi. I think I'm going to end most of the videos like that now. I think I'm going to end most of those unless you're a Nazi, because, they're all loving the Nazi. They all loved the Elon Musk little salute thing. All the Nazis did. Hey, it's Trucker John's in the chat. Trucker John, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Let's see, they're crying about a bishop. Do you think they'd think about an exorcist? Yeah. That whole crying about the bishop thing is just absurd. They knew that this was a person who was already speaking out against Donald Trump previously, and they're surprised that she implored him to use kindness towards, trans folk and immigrants. And then the religious conservatives are going to have the back of Trump, when, to the best of my understanding as a Jewish person, Jesus was supporting the people who are not from your land. The Bible says to be kind to people who are visitors to your land. Right? Right? The most non-Christian people are the very loud Christians. That pretty much where we are at this point in time. Especially when those people back the hoo-ha grabber-in-chief, Donald J. Trump, for president. And won't ever admit that they were wrong in doing so. So there's that. But there's an very interesting thing that took place. One of the, I think, most amazing things about the pardons that took place that, kind of shocked me, was that one of the Capitol rioters, somebody who was convicted and pled guilty to the crimes that she committed, is denying and turning down Donald Trump's pardon. Pamela Hemphill pled guilty and was sentenced to 60 days in prison and I guess that means she's out. So the only thing that's left from her guilty verdict is the fact that she has it on her record. And she told the media, told the BBC and other people, that not only was she going to deny her pardon, that nobody should be pardoned for what happened on January 6, 2021. She said, in refusing the pardon, we were wrong on that day. She continues to go on and say, accepting a pardon would only insult the Capitol police officers' rule of law and, of course, our nation. I pleaded guilty because I was guilty, and accepting a pardon would also serve to contribute to their gaslighting and false narrative. So this is proof that it is absolutely possible for somebody who did formally support Donald Trump to see the light, to see that they were wrong, admit that they were wrong, and stand up against what he's doing now. So good for you. Would we have all hoped that more people would have realized how wrong it was before the insurrection happened? Sure. But the fact that this individual, who was nicknamed the, quote, MAGA Granny by people in social media, she said that she saw the Trump government as trying to rewrite history, and I don't want to be part of that. We were wrong that day. We broke the law. There should be no pardons. Trump's decision to pardon, blah, 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 over nearly 1,600 people, and all of them who attempted to violently overthrow the 2020 election, some of which, may have just been, traveling along with the people who were committing acts of violence. But there's an argument to be made that many of the people there were aiding and abetting and giving comfort to the people who were doing violence simply by being there with them, standing next to them, and not doing anything to stop them from, taking part in their violent activities. Trump claims, according to these people, have already served years in prisons, and they served them viciously. Blue, boo, 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 hoo. However, the move's drawn uneasy reaction from Republican politicians. Tom Tillis from North Carolina just can't agree on the move. James Lankford from Oklahoma said, I think we need to continue to say we're a party of law and order. Well, you can't very well do that if your president, the guy who's the head of your party, is pardoning people who acted, violently against cops or in any matter. Acting violently is wrong, but the fact that these so-called law and order people are supporting the release from prison and from jail or whatever, people who assaulted police officers, no, you can't claim to be law and order. I don't want to hear any single one of these people claiming that. This should probably be under this one. I don't want to hear anybody saying, if you supported Donald Trump, I don't want to hear any one of y'all saying back the blue after this. You can't say back the blue after this, because guess what? You don't back the blue. You only back the blue when the blue does bad things to brown people. Otherwise, you don't give a crap about the blue. This is going to be a whole fat man rant, but I felt that was appropriate to shove in there as well. But even then, you also have former Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who basically said, I disagree with these pardons. This should not have happened. You knew it was going to happen, just like the dummies over in the Fraternal Order of Police. You knew it was going to happen, and you supported the idiot anyway. So don't come after the fact saying, he shouldn't have done that. You knew it was going to happen. You didn't do anything to stop it. Go F yourself. You're part of the problem. Just go away. Anyway, what do you think? Do you like what the MAGA Granny did? Do you hope more people should do it? Do you think that these MAGA types should have accepted their pardon, or should have just taken their lumps with the fact that they did wrong, and then just serve their time? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and as always, unless you're a Nazi, have a good day. Let's see, Jolie, before the robbery, I got stopped doing 82 into 70. Cop asked me where I was going in a hurry. I said, well, I really ain't in a hurry, but I was going, wasn't I? He laughed and told me to slow down. Man, imagine if you wouldn't have gotten stopped. What would have happened then? Would you have had to deal with the robbery because you weren't getting stopped? So, yeah, years. I am thirsty as all get out. Ugh. Anyway, good to see you, Big Hook. Thank you for joining on. Who else is here? Oh, Kimchi's here. The goddess Kimchi. Thank you for joining us as well. Nice to see you. Appreciate you stopping by. So you talk to cops like me. Humor gets you a long way. So you are a cop, Dean. So I'm assuming you do you agree with me with the whole idea that you can't be pro law enforcement and then support the release of people who attack cops, right? I would assume that you do, but because you're good people. Anyway, so there's that. That's the second video we're recording for this show. Let me pop open a few of these links real quick, because that's the next part of the thing we're going to talk about. Let's see. Steve, I'll admit I was wrong. I didn't think he would do it, but no, he went right ahead and made it worse. Great. Yep. Exactly. What's up, Teresa? Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming along. All right. Next one. Donald Trump did not just pardon January 6th insurrectionists and terrorists, etc., or commute some of the people's sentences who were convicted of longer sentences, but still managed to, get them released from jail or prison well before they were supposed to be, as it pertains to the sentences they received for their crimes that they were convicted of. So who else did Trump pardon? Trump promised to free Silk Road creator Ross Ulbricht on day one. Now, he may not have done it on the first calendar day, but I think he may have gotten it done within the first 24 hours of it. Now he's saying here under this article that was, I guess, by crypto people, that's a pro-cryptocurrency website. Ross Ulbricht has yet to receive commutation for his prison sentence from Donald Trump, dashing hopes from advocates in the immediate term to see the notorious figure free. After spending a session in the Oval Office signing executive orders, Trump heads to the Commander-in-Chief Ball and the Liberty Ball, blah, blah, blah. It is unclear whether Trump intends to pardon or commute Ulbricht's sentence in the coming weeks, blah, blah, blah. He says at the 2024 Libertarian National Convention in May last year, if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht. So that was what he promised to them. Now, in his promise, he said he would commute the sentence as opposed to a pardon. So Donald Trump lied in several ways, apparently, or at least he spoke a falsehood. A, he said it was going to be a commutation. B, he said it would be happening on day one, which a lot of people took as happening on calendar one. See, Ross Ulbricht was a former Eagle Scout, a materials science graduate. He founded the Silk Road Marketplace in 2011. He was 26. He built Silk Road as an underground e-commerce platform that enabled then anonymous transactions using Bitcoin. In October 2013, he was arrested, where FBI agents seized his laptop. Silk Road operated as the first modern darknet marketplace, facilitating $1.2 billion in Bitcoin transactions before it was shut down. He received 2 life sentences plus 40 years without parole in 2015. He was convicted of money laundering, computer hacking, and narcotics trafficking charges. He served a decade in prison. He apparently was well behaved. But here's one of the things that's just amazing about the whole thing. Donald Trump campaigned on the idea that he would be tough on drugs. However, is he tough on drugs? Because this was used to facilitate drug transactions, and now he was pardoned. The sentence wasn't commuted. He was pardoned for his online drug scheme. U.S. President Donald Trump on Tuesday pardoned Silk Road founder Ross Ulbricht, who was sentenced to life in prison and running an underground online marketplace, blah, 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 blah. The Republican president made good on a campaign pledge to fee Ulbricht, who was arrested in 2013, blah, blah, blah. See this. He says the scum that worked to convict him were some of the same lunatics who were involved in the modern day weaponization of government against me. Trump said in his post on Truth Social. Trump said the pardon was full and unconditional. He called Ulbricht's mother to break the news. Ulbricht was released from prison in Arizona late Tuesday following the announcement. Apparently, he heard about it from his attorney or whatever. So, again, Donald Trump, with one of the other issues that we've talked about, when it comes to TikTok, he first said it was a threat to national security. He never came out and said, I was wrong, it's not a threat to national security, but then he said he would save TikTok, which means he's willing to put the national security, our national security, behind his own political aspirations. Not something that we're all surprised about, but it is what it is. Now, what's happening with this? Donald Trump has made a big deal about fentanyl. Republicans are, fentanyl's crossing the border. Fentanyl this. Drugs are a huge problem in this country. Joe Biden is so horrible because he arrested so many people coming into this country with narcotics and fentanyl. Although I don't understand why he was doing his job by stopping the people crossing the border with drugs and fentanyl. So he was doing the right thing by stopping them. But now Donald Trump is not just letting somebody out of prison who had consecutive life sentences or what have you, and pardoning them fully and unconditionally. It was somebody whose website was used to facilitate drug transactions that would, that Trump of the, we got to stop the drugs from happening. So what is his motivation here? I mean, obviously he made a promise to the Libertarian Convention, but he didn't run as a Libertarian. And obviously, he told them he was going to do it, but what is he going to do? Not get elected again? He can't get elected again under the Constitution. Can't. So he could have just backed down on this promise and that would have been the end of it. So what do I think his goal and motives are here with this particular thing? Well, with the other pardons that he did, I've said on the show already that he could be just by pardoning them all or commuting the sentences of some, he could basically be forming his own little brown shirts collective. Donald Trump's, maybe they'll be just red shirts or red hats. I mean, one would hope they would be red shirts in the Star Trek parlance. However, unfortunately, we're not that lucky. But again, this is going to be Donald Trump's brown shirts. Does Donald Trump now look at Ulbricht and say, hey, this is somebody that I could use to help create an online dark web collaboration effort that would allow my brown shirts, i.e. the people I just let out of prison or stopped from going to prison in the first place, to allow them to communicate and coordinate and help me have my own little personal private brown shirt army that's going to be my secret police or whatever, my private police force, my private paramilitary force, or whatever you want to call it. And they'll use this guy to help him coordinate and facilitate the communication amongst them all to make it harder for any law enforcement official to try and catch them when they try and keep him in power in the next 4 years or what have you. Is that a conspiracy theory? Does that seem like it's a crazy talk? Or does that just seem so plausible that it might actually just very well be what he's doing here? Because I don't trust him, and you shouldn't either. And I don't trust Donald Trump's motives on any of this stuff. And you put those pieces together. And this is the problem, of course, with Facebook fact checkers, to go all meta on this whole thing and even bring other videos that I've brought up. If I were to say this on Facebook, if I were to say that Donald Trump pardoned this guy, and the reason I think he pardoned this guy would be to create some sort of online dark web type situation that his brown shirts that he's released from prison can use to communicate with each other and to coordinate to help him do the things that he, quote, can't do as president, even though he now has unconditional and full immunity because you can't subpoena any of his communications because they're all considered privileged. So how can you be convicted if they can't actually see what you're talking about? That being said, he might very well think, oh, well, let's make this little underground brown shirt organization and let's use Ross Ulbricht's technical abilities to be able to facilitate their coordination and make it happen. Is it probable? I don't know. Is it plausible? I think so. What do you think? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and unless you're a Nazi, have a good day. See, my guess is Albrecht has a lot of money owed him, not ratting out a lot of others for a lighter sentence. I think supposedly some of the people says that he was the patsy that took the fall. He created it, kind of stepped away from it, and then they brought him back in to take the fall for other people who were doing horrible. There are other people who were convicted of horrible things from Silk Road, and that's whatever. But Dean Baker, very possible. Thank you. Red asses, yes. Very true. Red asses. He may very well. Hey, Progressively Independent, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. I didn't catch you coming in there. But yeah, what was I just responding to? Scroll back up. Stay warm, everyone. Don't do anything stupid to draw attention to yourself, especially now. I mean, I'm drawing lots of attention to myself by having a podcast here. Now, of course, you know, other people have podcasts at the same time, whatever. Oh, no, somebody unalived Jeffy? What? What are you talking about? I don't know. Oh, wait. Oh, Jolie, I remember to have a South Park style Kenny coat. I was supposed to meet people in front of the theater, but they had no idea I was standing by them, but they kept staring. Did you talk like this? Anyway, there's that. Did I miss one of the things I wanted to talk about? We already talked about Fraternal Order of Police crying. We talked about the MAGA Granny. We talked about the Silk Road story and my conspiracy theory about it. So yeah, I guess we have to. We're going to get to that, and then we'll get to the phone calls in a little bit. But again, remember, Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left. That's right, here Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central. Here at liberaldanradio.com or twitch.tv/liberaldanradio. Remember to like the video, share, subscribe, comment on other videos that are published. Share those, especially when I, cut some of the videos up from the live streams to make it so that it's easier for people to watch these videos and, get information on a smaller, smaller video, piece by piece, instead of having to, because some people can consume whole 2-3 hour shows at a time, and I appreciate y'all who do so, but some of other people clearly would like to have smaller chunks of videos, so that's why I do try and make sure that some of these are edited to make sure that everybody who wants to see it and needs to see it can see it, because again, the mainstream media is not doing their job and has not done their job, and we'll be calling out the mainstream media as they neglect to do their job while we do their job for them. Of course, there's some people like, I haven't seen any issue. I haven't taken any real issue with Rachel Maddow. She's fine. I haven't taken any real issue with some of the other pundits that are out there, but other ones clearly have screwed the pooch and either are terrible at what they've done or are already kissing the ring of Trump or are doing other things that proven themselves to be unreliable in the issues that we're talking about here these days on the podcast, etc. But it's just, you need to also make sure, again, I'm always going to talk about how we need to support all of the podcasts out there. Chucker John, Bronson Brian, Tommy, aka my dude or news dude, Hal, Stephanie Miller, Ojeda, Midas Touch, all the people that are out there. Anybody that I've missed, I'm sure I've missed some. We need to get everybody to have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. We need everybody to be active. We need to be helping these people. We need to introduce more left-leaning, leftist, progressive, liberal type people to come support these shows as well, because that's the only way we're going to fight back against the conservative media, is by getting everybody working together, getting everybody listening to all of these types of shows that are going to make everything hopefully enable us to fight back, especially if Donald Trump's able to form my little conspiracy theory idea here. I mean, he's not dumb. He's not that bright. He is pretty much an idiot. He's pretty much an idiot, but he's a con man too. So con men can sometimes come up with good cons, and he might also have other people who might be able to do that. But of course, Donald Trump sometimes might, be thinking, oh, well, this is what he was convicted of. Maybe I could use that to my benefit. So let's give him a pardon and then get him on my side and get him doing my bidding. so to speak. What's up, Sue? Good to see you. I appreciate that, Sue. I'd love to be part of any sort of network. I've joked around with Stephanie Miller on like Twitter or whatever, and I've told her, I was like, I may not be sexy, but I'm definitely liberal, so I could be part of the not so sexy but still very liberal sub tour or sub network or something like that. But I would love to be part of the Midas network. That would be great. The enemy within is a trucker. Are you saying that enemies within are truckers, or are you saying that Trucker John is the enemy within, or what are you saying? Let's see. The Fraternal Order of Police put out a statement about feeling betrayed. They endorse Trump and they can't shut the hell up. Well, yes, Texas Paul. Thank you, Andrea. I knew I forgot one. But yes, and that's what we talked about earlier in the show. And that will be a video that will be posted either tonight or tomorrow morning live on the channel. So you can share that little clip of me berating the Fraternal Order of Police for what they've done. And again, I don't want to hear anybody saying that they back the blue if they back Donald Trump, because you can't square that circle. It just doesn't work. See, the MSNBC nighttime lineup is pretty solid. Ari Melber needs to stop with the rap references and attempts of clickbait stuff like having Stephen Miller on. Yeah, but the thing with him having Stephen Miller on is that Ari Melber is actually one of the ones that I like. In that, I'm impressed with his rap references. I like how he brings that up. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of a show-off, but, nobody expects him to be quoting, like, deep cuts from rap albums. That being said, Ari Melber kind of does what sometimes I do. I invite the conservatives on, we debate them, and then we destroy them. And that's what Ari Melber does to the conservatives that he has on the show. And it doesn't matter who he really has on, but when he could destroy the conservatives, that's what I like. That's the kind of things that I like. Now, other people, I mean, again, you've already heard me berate Lawrence O'Donnell, and I'm sure he'll do more things that I don't like as well. We don't have to beat that dead horse. I think I did say Ojeda too, Andrea, but yes, Major Ojeda is somebody else that should be followed as well. And I need to get Philip Bittner back on the show as well, because I definitely want to talk about the Ukraine deal, especially now that Trump is now president, and what he feels about it. I'm sure you go to his YouTube channel. I'm sure he has plenty of information on that as well. But I definitely want to get him back on here because he is definitely one of the friends of the show. So, Roxanne, news divisions were never the same when folded in entertainment as part of the industry. They were expected to make profits as well. That also is a problem. The fact that you want to make profits. But then again, look, the reason I upped this from 1 day a week to 2 days a week is because of the fact that I would like this to be a successful thing. I would love to be able to do this full time. I would love to be able to do this 5 days a week, multiple times a day, creating content, all that other good stuff. I would love to be able to do that. That would be awesome. Love to be able to do that. And in order to do that, you have to be able to make money with it, right? So I'm not going to begrudge people for making money, but I am going to begrudge, but I'm never, as part of this program, I'm never going to sit there and sell out and be like, well, I can't say this certain thing because I'm afraid it's going to make me lose money or make me lose subscribers or make me lose whatever. No, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to say what I feel and what I believe in because I'm going to be consistent. I don't want to ever be called a hypocrite whilst calling other people hypocrites of the week. I don't want to ever, I don't want to set that example for my kids that I'm willing to put money over doing the right thing. We should always be doing the right thing. And the fact that the media won't do the right thing, and you have things like Mika and Joe kissing the ring of Donald Trump, going to Mar-a-Lago. You have other media types who are more than willing to kiss Donald Trump's ass now that he won. Yeah, no. We need to keep the screws to him. We cannot just sit here and be like, oh, well, since he's president, we have to be nice. No. Being nice is over with. We're done being nice. I'll be nice to people who deserve niceness. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, people involved in the Doge thing, people involved in the Trump administration, people who work for Trump. And none of these people deserve niceness because they are bringing evilness tenfold to this country. So, eyeballs just started going elsewhere. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Liberal Dan, they are lying. That's what makes me angry. Yeah, absolutely. So the Enemy Within has a channel on YouTube and does videos from his big rig. Interesting. We'll have to check that out as well. Oh, good. I was going to say hi or Villaby, but I think I was in the middle of talking. But hey, or Villaby over there on Twitch. Thank you for joining over there on the Twitch streams. Appreciate you. I am freaking thirsty. Let's see, Adam Conover, Dude, Politics Girl, Free Speech TV, Randy Rhodes, Tom Hartman, all valuable resources for information. Yes, they are. And you know, the Tom Hartmans, Randy Rhodes, Stephanie Miller type folks, you know, those are definitely the top A tier, but we need to build our farm team up. We need to build up, you know, people that can step in and sub in for the larger people at a moment's notice. We need to make sure that we're fighting people on all levels, and we need to elevate all of the people up. You know, there's no reason that Hal shouldn't have millions of subscribers at this point. There's no reason that, you know, Chucker John, myself, you know, we should be at least 10, at least, if not more. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's a whole bunch of people. Let's see. Radio Dan is my top 5. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I'm assuming you're talking about me. CR, agree. This channel should have 100,000. Well, I was saying at least 10 at this point. You know, because I'm not doing it full time. So I understand that my not doing it full time because I have another full-time job does preclude me from getting as many, you know, listens as I might think that I should have. That being said, or that I'd like to have, let's see. Wait, it's my 7-month sub-anniversary. Did I not do that for my last time? There we go. I'm carrying my sub-anniversary, and I subscribe with Prime. Then again, I think that... Am I still subscribed with... I'm still subscribed. I haven't lost it yet. There you go. All right. Maybe soon. Maybe in a couple days I'll have to do it. But that was me messaging the fact that I was, you know, that I've subbed to myself using my free Amazon Prime membership, which you can do too if you have Amazon Prime and can connect it to Prime Gaming. I don't think you can do it on the iPhone, but otherwise it works. So, hey Tim, good to see you. Thank you for stopping by as well. Boom, 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 boom. Just make sure that we have everything that we need or we're going to talk about before we jump into the next subject, which will be the executive orders versus Project 2025 Part 1. Anyway, if you're watching live right now while I'm recording this video, the link to Project 2025 is pinned to the top of the YouTube chat. It's not on Twitch. I guess I should put it there as well. Anyway, if you're let's just start over because we're not gonna. Hey Kimchi, a Danimal for 7 months. Thank you. Happy Daniversary for you. We're gonna start that. We're gonna start that over again because I don't like how I started that one right, or I didn't think I started it right. So if you're watching this live on liberaldanradio.com, the link to Project 2025, the document is pinned to the top of the chat. You could also go to liberaldan.com, and it will be also the first post that you see currently, and also it'll be in any video that I make pertaining to comparing the executive orders to Project 2025. And in the last show, I said somebody should do this. Somebody should be compiling a list of all of the executive orders that share anything in relationship to Project 2025 and the executive orders, making sure that those relationships... we're just going to start again, because I'm just fumbling all over my words, and I don't know why. So... Take 3, shall we? This is what you get when you watch this stuff live sometimes. Sometimes I lose my train of thought and flub it, and you'll get to see it again. I apologize for that. So, Jeff, Jolie, I almost started a fight at the show without ever saying a thing or getting out of my seat. Nice. My microphone is all acted up, so let's see. Yes, original gangster. Dude was saying that he had to cancel his health insurance because TikTok is not paying and throttling his videos. Ooh, that's terrible. I mean, at least with my full-time gig, I have health insurance, and I mean the premiums went up, and the deductible went up, but I still have health insurance via that way. And that's another reason why I'm not doing this full time, because I don't want to be in a situation where I'm doing really well, and then all of a sudden I get a dry spell, and then I can't afford to pay my bills. I need to make sure that this is something that is going to be paying me much more than what I make in my current job before I would even consider dropping my current job. So I wouldn't want to do that. Wouldn't want to do that to my family. Wouldn't want to risk that financially, especially over the next 4 years with Donald Trump and all the shenanigans that he's doing, which we'll talk a little bit about that after we restart this whole Project 2025 versus the executive orders video for a third time. Anyway, if you're watching this live, you will see the link to Project 2025 at the top. I don't trust that Project 2025, those people won't take it down after they realize what people are doing and that they're comparing the executive orders to Project 2025. Maybe they don't care at this point because it's already done deal. He's elected. There's nothing that anybody can say that can, that'll make them go away at this point. We lost our chance to reject Project 2025 when we failed to, not elect Donald Trump and elect Vice President Harris to become our next president of the United States. But if you aren't watching live, this document is also on liberaldan.com. This document will also be pinned and posted to any video that we discuss these topics in. So, again, there's several videos here. I might chop this up into several videos. It might just be one whole video. We'll see how long it goes. But that being said, let's start and discuss some of the executive orders that Donald Trump has already signed that match Project 2025 and what they've done. So, restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship. So you have this document here that's, has what the policy is. It has some fluff to it. We're not going to necessarily just read the whole thing. We kind of did that last show. But restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship. Here's some quotes from there. Under the guise of combating misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation, that's right here, the federal government infringed on the constitutionally protected speech rights of American citizens across the United States in a manner that advanced the government's preferred narrative about significant matters of public debate. Government censorship of speech is intolerable in a free society. First of all, them wanting to make sure that, disinformation is not being spread, that foreign sources like Russia or China can't manipulate our electoral processes is a actual real function of a responsible government. That being said, if you go to page 550 of the document that I have pinned, the words there say, this is especially true with respect to activities that the FBI and the U.S. government writ large claim are efforts to combat misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation. It is not any sort of surprise that they use those three words in combination, and that's the same three words that were used on here, except they replaced the or with an and. Maybe that's what the Facebook fact checkers would be like. Oh, they're exactly the same. And the Facebook fact checkers would be like, oh, well, the executive order says misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation, but Project 2025 says misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation. So it's completely different. Kind of like the Vanilla Ice argument that Under Pressure and Ice Ice Baby aren't the same thing, because Under Pressure goes da-na-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na-na, and Ice Ice Baby goes da-na-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na-na. As Vanilla Ice said, it's completely different. So maybe these people will think, oh, it's completely different too, and as such, they can get away with their BS fact-checking, but we know the truth. We know that these policies are absolutely connected, that Project 2025 is behind this particular thing. And we also know that their claims that this is a violation of free speech rights is a bunch of bunk. Your free speech rights are not violated because a social media company was urged on by the federal government to make sure that people know that certain things are misinformation or disinformation or whatever you want to call it. It's just how it is. Right? Anyway, so the next one that we're going to talk about is ending the weaponization of the federal government. So the words on here, on this one, include the prior administration and allies throughout the country engaged in an unprecedented third world weaponization of prosecutorial power to upend the democratic process. That's one of the sentences that is said here in ending the weaponization of the federal government. If you go to page 285 of the document that I've linked to, it says the department's unprecedented politicization and weaponization under Biden and Attorney General Merrick Garland, resulting in politically motivated and viewpoint-based persecutions of political enemies and indifference to the crimes of political allies, that has made the department a threat to the republic. Again, unprecedented politicization and weaponization. The words are close. Are we not to believe that this executive order about ending the so-called weaponization of the federal government has nothing to do with that section of Project 2025? I don't believe that for a second, that they're different. You shouldn't either. Right? So let's continue on. Let's continue on to the next thing, which is, as I had open already, withdrawing the United States from the World Health Organization. According to this document, it says the United States noticed its withdrawal from the World Health Organization in 2020 due to the organization's mishandling of the COVID-19 pandemic that arose out of Wuhan, China, and other global health crises. Now, the mishandling of the COVID-19 pandemic was not because of the WHO. It was Donald J. Trump, president at the time, who mishandled the pandemic, who wanted to slow down or stop testing, because if you stop testing, you don't have as many cases, according to his dumbass mind, because that's not how it works. You still have the cases, you just don't know that they exist if you stop testing. Donald Trump mishandled it by not encouraging people to mask up and socially distance. He messed up and caused hundreds of thousands of Americans to die more than what should have because of his actions or failure to act with the pandemic. But anyway, still, that's what they said in the previous one. It says the United States notices withdrawal due to the organization's mishandling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Page 191 of Project 2025. When such institutions act against U.S. interests, the United States must be prepared to take appropriate steps in response, up to including withdrawal. The manifest failure and corruption of the World Health Organization during the COVID-19 pandemic is an example of the danger that international organizations pose to the U.S. and U.S. citizens and interests. So, sure, it's not verbatim, but again, Project 2025 called for us to remove ourselves from the WHO. Donald Trump is now removing us from the WHO. How many similarities do you need to not understand that Donald Trump and Project 2025 is Donald Trump's Agenda 47 and Project 2025 are one and the same? Just Agenda 47, for the most part, is kind of Project 2025 for dummies. There's one or two aspects here where there's actually more details on the executive order side as compared to what was found, or at least what I found so far, in the Project 2025 document. But typically, it's the other way around, and typically Donald Trump's plan is Project 2025 for dummies. So let's look at the next bit, shall we? I may just cut these into two bits as well. I'll probably just have the same ending and recycle the same ending and edit out like things like this. So, holding former government officials accountable for election interference and improper disclosure of sensitive governmental information. I mean, you're not supposed to put the entire body of the email in the subject line. So you shouldn't. I mean, we all know that he's overly wordy or whatever. But again, in the closing weeks of the 2020 presidential campaign, at least 51 former intelligence officers, and this is from here. This is from the executive order in and of itself, not Project 2025. So, in the closing weeks of the 2020 presidential campaign, at least 51 former intelligence officials coordinated with the Biden campaign to issue a letter discrediting the reporting that President Joseph R. Biden's son had abandoned his laptop at a computer repair business. Signatories of the letter falsely suggested that the news story was part of a Russian disinformation campaign. If you go to page 213 of Project 2025, it says Brennan's role in the letter signed by 51 former intelligence officials before the 2020 election is unclear, but in dismissing the Hunter Biden laptop as Russian disinformation, the CIA was discredited and the shocking extent of politicization among some former IC officials was revealed. Clearly, similar wording, similar arguments. But also, in the executive order, it says, effective immediately, the Director of National Intelligence, in consultation with the Director of the Central Intelligence Agency, shall revoke any current or active clearances held by the following individuals. Then it goes ahead and lists all those individuals, and we went through that on the last show. If you then go back to the Project 2025 website, it says the DNI, Director of National Intelligence, and CIA Director should use their authority under National Security Act of 1947 to expedite the clearance of personnel to meet mission needs and remove IC employees who have abused their positions of trust. Basically, again, they want to remove the people who they feel attacked him and defended, this idea of the laptop. There was no laptop. It was a thumb drive. And why the hell would Hunter Biden have gone from California to Delaware to go drop off a laptop? There's plenty of laptop repair places in California. And then why did he happen to pick the one with somebody with a visual impairment who couldn't actually see him and had to rely on hearing? Doesn't make no sense. However, they want you to believe that, to pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. But when you call a thumb drive a laptop, that's absurd. And then there's no way to confirm that the information on the thumb drive was 100% accurate and from whatever laptop that they feel was left at this repair person's shop. It's bizarre. Next part. Unleashing American energy. At least this is a short title. We'll give him that, right? Section 4. It's down here, blah, blah, blah. Executive Order 14082 of September 12th, 2022. Implementation of the Energy and Infrastructure Provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. And then it also has, within 60 days of the date of this order, the administrator of the EPA shall issue guidance to address these harmful and detrimental inadequacies, including consideration of eliminating the social cost of carbon calculation from any federal permitting or regulatory decision. Page 364 of the Project 2025 document says, unleash private sector energy innovation by ending government interference in energy decisions. Unleash and unleashing. I mean, unleashing seems to be a weird word. I mean, I guess it could be used, but the fact that they both use that one, similar wording. It also says support repeal of massive spending bills like the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act and the Inflation Reduction Act. Again, just like that was said, in there. And furthermore, page 422 of the document, so about, 60 pages later, revise guidance documents that control regulations such as the social cost of carbon. So both documents mention the, quote, social cost of carbon. And they want to end that. And they mention the executive order specifically as well. Let's go to the next one that we've looked at. realigning the United States Refugee Admissions Program. So under the executive order, it says realignment of the U.S. Refugee Admissions Program. A, I hereby proclaim pursuant to sections blah, 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 that entry into the United States of refugees under USRAP would be detrimental to the interests of the United States. I therefore direct that entry into the United States of refugees under USRAP be suspended, subject to the exception set forth in subsection C, until a finding is made in accordance with section 4 of this order. Sounds almost similar to like, we need a total and complete ban of Muslims entering this country until we find out what's going on. But page 177 of Project 2025, one casualty of the Biden administration's behavior will be the current form of U.S. Refugee Admission Program, aka USARP, USRAP, the federal government's obligation to shift national security, essential screening, and vetting resources to the forged border crisis will necessitate an indefinite curtailment of the number of USRAP refugee admissions. And later on in the executive order, they list some exceptions, but while some exceptions exist, basically they're saying the same thing. Reduce, if not eliminate, people entering the country indefinitely, I guess, until we figure out what the hell's going on. So clearly, again, Donald Trump is getting his marching orders from the Heritage Foundation and the Project 2025 people when it comes to these things. So there are certain things that Donald Trump's going to want to do, and then there's other things I'm convinced that he's just not going to care about and he'll let other people have their way. Reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid is the next executive order that we're going to be looking at. In the executive order, it says the United States foreign aid industry and bureaucracy are not aligned with American interests and in many cases antithetical to American values. Page 279 of Project 2025. The next conservative administration will have a unique opportunity to realign U.S. foreign assistance with American national interests and the principles of good governance. Again, is that wording not close enough for anybody to, are they going to deny this at this point, or are they just going to say, yeah, we were lying, you were right, these were the same things? Project 2025 is Agenda 47, and there's no arguing otherwise. Of course, there's the so-called defending women, because we all know how concerned Donald Trump is about defending women, considering the fact that he was found to be civilly liable of sexual abuse of a woman, considering he says that he bragged about being able to walk up on women and grabbing them by the hoo-ha, considering the fact that he brags about having Roe v. Wade overturned with Dobbs v. Jackson. He took responsibility for it. So all those things, and yet he's going to claim that they're defending women from so-called gender ideology? So here's this. Wording in this executive order. The requirements of this order supersede conflicting provisions in any previous executive orders or presidential memoranda, including but not limited to Executive Orders 13988, 14004, 14020, 14021, blah, 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 blah. These executive orders are hereby rescinded, and the White House Gender Policy Council, established by Executive Order 14020, is dissolved. If you go to page 62 of the Project 2025 document, the president should immediately revoke Executive Order 14002, and 14020, which is the same thing which Trump dissolved at the end, and every policy, including sub-regulatory guidance documents produced on behalf or related to the establishment or promotion of the Gender Policy Council and its subsidiary issues. So again, both of them wanted to get rid of all the so-called gender ideology, right? Both of them wanted to do that, but they're not related, right? But also, Section 5 of the executive order states, protecting rights, the Attorney General shall issue guidance to ensure the freedom to express the binary nature of sex. Page 332 of Project 2025 says, the new administration must quickly move to rescind these changes, which add a new non-binary sex category to OCR's data collection and issue a new CRDC that will collect data directly relevant to OCR's statutory enforcement authority, i.e., because they're mad that we added non-binary, and Donald Trump wants to support the binary nature of sex, even though that's not a thing, because even the most That's kindergarten cop biology right there. That is kindergarten cop. All boys have a penis and all girls have a vagina. That's kindergarten cop, right? So it is very well known that I ask conservatives this all the time. How many known combinations of XY chromosomes are there? And they'll say, well, 2, XX and XY. I'm like, nope, you're wrong. Sorry, you lose. There's at least 6, including XO, XY, XX, XXY, XXXY, multiple versions of like XXXX or whatever. At least 6 that we know of. Plus, there are other things like, whether or not the SRY gene reveals itself, whether or not, other parts of development that happens in utero will affect and impact how the body develops, where the idea of gender being a binary is an antiquated idea that even like journals like the Scientific American lets you know that, these ideas are very, basic thoughts that have no basis in our current understanding of how gender and sex both work. But, they don't care about science. We all know they don't care about science. They didn't care about science during the pandemic. They don't care about science now. What they will do is they want to be cruel and evil and mean to folks who don't fall under the gender binary because they don't understand how it works. And the one thing that MAGA folks will do time and time again is they will lash out at anything that they don't understand or that they think ends or changes their worldview in a negative way in their minds. So, but again, both documents want to have government enforce the idea of the gender binary, something that is not something that's true. And so therefore, there's another comparison that we can make between Project 2025 and Agenda 47 and these executive orders and basically say they're all one and the same. Last one I think we're going over today is ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing. Of course, if you ask a conservative what DEI means, they won't be able to explain it. They don't understand it. They just, again, lashed out about it because they think that if somebody is a, quote, DEI hire, that they're only being hired for their immutable characteristics and they're not being hired because of the fact that they have merit. Yeah, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, yes, she's the first black woman to ever serve in the Supreme Court, but that doesn't mean she didn't get there because of her merit. She absolutely got there because of her merit, and any claim otherwise is just racism and sexism to boot. But here are the words about this DEI thing, and you're gonna laugh at the placement of this in the Project 2025 document, of how important they feel it is. Quote, according to this executive order, terminate to the maximum extent allowed by law all DEI, DEIA, and environmental justice offices and positions, including but not limited to Chief Diversity Officer, all equity action plans, equity actions, initiatives or programs, equity-related grants or contracts, and all DEI or DEIA performance requirements for employees, contractors, or grantees. Because who needs equity, right? Who needs people to be able to access the same workplace, to be able to have the same opportunities as everybody else, right? That's what they think. Page 4 of Project 2025. This is so important to them and their combating of woke culture or whatever. This is so important to them that page 4 says the next conservative president must make the institutions of American civil society hard targets for woke culture warriors. This starts with deleting the terms sexual orientation and gender identity, diversity, equity and inclusion, DEI, gender equality, gender equity, gender awareness, gender sensitive, abortion, reproductive health, reproductive rights, and any other term used to deprive Americans of their First Amendment rights out of every federal rule, agency, regulation, contract, grant, regulation, and piece of legislation that exists. I mean, hand in hand, they're saying the same things. I mean, Project 2025 might have added a few other things in there, but again, they think it's a violation of free speech rights for government to basically say, hey, we're going to make sure that we have a diverse workforce, that the people who are working have the opportunity to have equity, and that they have opportunity to be able to reach their goals despite of whatever condition they might be in, be it a disability or whatever, and inclusiveness. Oh no, the horrible. Donald Trump wants his government to be as old and as white and as male as possible, and that's probably, he probably thinks that diversity means you have more than one type of pudding at the buffet. But yeah, these, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 examples of executive orders just from the first 24 hours of his presidency, at least from the first 24 hours once he started signing executive orders, all have clear links to Project 2025. So we all knew, if you listen to Liberal Day and Radio Talk from Left, That's Right, you know that there was a connection there. You knew it. We all knew it, despite his denials. But there's no denying it. And we will continue to go over these issues. We will continue to discuss these issues and compare and contrast what Project 2025 does versus what the Trump administration is doing, just to make sure that we have our eye on everything that they're doing. Because if we don't keep an eye on everything that they're doing, they're going to try and slip something by us, and that can't happen. We need to be all hands on deck. We need to be following each and everything that they do to make sure that we're prepared when it happens. So what do you think? Do you agree with my assertion and allegations that Project 2025 and Trump's agenda are the same thing? If you agree or disagree, leave your comments down below in the comment section. Remember to like the video, share it to your friends, and of course, unless you're a Nazi, have a good day. There you go. There is all that was going on. And we will be discussing that, I'm sure, further and further as more executive orders are written. We will go into them. We will compare them. I will basically say, this is the executive order. This is the link to the executive order. This is the link to Project 2025. You can read it yourself and see exactly what it is that is in these documents and why we need to fully go through all of Project 2025, because that's going to be the roadmap that Donald Trump uses for the vast majority of things. I'm frankly surprised that I didn't see anything, at least on my first cursory search or whatever, that I didn't find anything about birthright citizenship in Project 2025. I was frankly surprised at that. Maybe it came in a later iteration from the one that I found, I don't know. However, I am very surprised that they did not talk about birthright citizenship in that. But then again, there was another topic, I don't remember off the top of my head, where people were looking for some change that I think that they made in the FDIC, I want to say. I think the change was to the FDIC. And they didn't have, if you search the document for FDIC, you will not find anything. You will not find anything if you search the document for FDIC. But if you search for federal deposit, you will find the information about the FDIC. Why? Because they wanted to make it as hard as possible for you to search the document, or maybe deposit insurance is what you have to do. I had to do some creative searching to be able to find the changes that they wanted to make to the FDIC back when they were saying that they wanted to do it, again, because they wanted to make sure that people couldn't see what they were doing, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. So, you're very welcome, Roxanne, and I'm going to keep doing this research because it's vital. And again, I don't trust the mainstream media to do it. If I see that somebody in the mainstream media is doing it, perhaps I'll move on to something else. But I don't trust that the mainstream media is going to do it because they prove themselves to be not trustworthy with the other stuff that they refuse to do research on, they refuse to look at, their fact-checking that they did to try and cover their asses. No. We need to make sure that we're doing this, and that, so when you have these sort of videos, just make sure to share them all over the place. Just let people know these are the same things. These are the same ideas. Project 2025 is dictating the majority of what's going on in the Trump administration. Hey, Janelle, good to see you. We're going to birthright citizenship. I thought it would be, but if I do a search for birthright, I don't find anything except for the birthright of Americans. It might be worded in some other way, maybe, but I couldn't necessarily find it in and of itself. Let's just kind of scroll back and see what I missed, because I want to make sure that I get all the comments as possible. See, Kimchi, why are the Dems going along with the sane washing of this client? Let's see, yeah, I just searched birthright in Project 2025 in the document, and on page 836, actually, is it page 836? It's page 803. because page 803, it's the actual page number of the page, not the page number of like with including all the title pages and prefaces or whatever. The only mention of birthright is the belief in manufacturing has to shrink for services, blah 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 blah. It's an anathema to the optimism, hope, and confidence that are the natural birthright of conservatives. That's the only mention of birthright that it has. So that's the problem, is they've made things in this document hard to find. And if I do find it, I will make another video where we discuss his birthright citizenship or his unconstitutional birthright citizenship executive order, because there's no way it's constitutional if you had a reasonable and reliable Supreme Court. But again, the only mention of birthright in this document is just about confidence being the natural birthright of conservatives or what have you, and not any mention of birthright citizenship. So let's see. Kimchi, Liberal Dan is sizzling tonight. Thank you very much, Kimchi. I mean, I can't be as hot as the goddess Kimchi, but I can sizzle nonetheless, right? See, Wesley Jr., 1/3 power. He is trying to rig the office. Do not allow him. SCOTUS in Congress has to be independent. I mean, we would love SCOTUS in Congress to be independent. Unfortunately, we know that that's not the case. That is absolutely not the case. SCOTUS has his back. He has at least 5 in his pocket that I'm aware of. Now, who knows? Maybe one of them will grow a spine and about like the birthright citizenship thing. But I mean, when he says he wants to be a dictator on day one, he won't be a dictator in name, but he'll be a dictator in action, or by fiat, if the Congress doesn't stand up to what he does, and if the Supreme Court doesn't stand up to what he does. So let's all right, so I got back to where I was before I started doing my videos. Different strokes for different folks. Yeah, I mean, yeah, some people like Dude, some people don't. Some people like me, some people don't. Some people like Boston Brian, some people don't. Some people like Hal, some people don't. But we're all in this together. So we need to support, even if you don't like the shows. I mean, there are shows that I don't typically watch often, but if I see them live, I will like them and comment on their videos, their live videos, just to help their streams, because Al Gore needs more rhythm, right? And we need to make sure that Al Gore has more rhythm in order for us to be able to combat, because that's the #1 thing. And people seeing like this stream right now, people won't see this stream right now unless there's more interaction that takes place. And unfortunately, like I say, we only have 17 current viewers, which is a little low, but then again, that's to be expected when we have multiple people airing at the same time. But again, I don't begrudge him. He might have his time that he has to do things, and I have my time that I have to do things, and you don't have to watch both live. You can watch one live and one after review. You can watch, one, then look out for the clips that we post, whatever it is. See, meanwhile, Trump censors government agencies like the CDC, NIH, FDA, ATC today. Exactly. So YouTube doesn't really pay you until you get 1 million subscribers. That's true. I mean, my next payout from YouTube is probably going to be around $195 maybe, or $200. But it's not. I'm not making that every week. I'm not making that every month. I think that's every couple of months at this point, which is great. I appreciate everything that everybody does. There's some ad revenue in there, mostly super chats, super stickers, etc. But yes, you need a lot. I would need a lot more people to be able to do this as a full-time position. So. Let's see. And I said no one should miss the show. Hanger Hat was getting ready to play, gave him a fist bump, and it said enjoy the show. Nice. Just keep on scrolling. I don't understand how anybody could be offended by you, Suzanne. You seem like an awesome person, although I think you might have left already, but we'll see. Let's see, as Neil deGrasse Tyson says, the internet is the amount of disinformation and misinformation continues, and AI gets to the point where you can't detect it, then the internet will be useless, 100%, which is why we need to fight back. We need to show, we need reliable sources to be able to say, hey, this is a reliable source. We know reliable people. So we won't know when anything is coming, a storm, pandemic, an ice raid. Exactly. we have to. That's why, you know, a lot of people should probably use things like the European models of like hurricane tracking, because American models aren't going to be trustworthy, because Donald Trump's just going to use a Sharpie to say, oh no, it's going here instead. Um, See, my opinion is that we need to remove bad actor nations from accessing the internet. I mean, that would be lovely, but how do you do that, especially with the dark web? It's probably one of the reasons that you know, Donald Trump pardoned that guy, is because you have the dark web. Anyway, before we talk anymore, we'll continue scrolling down the chat, but we will go ahead and open up the phone lines. 562 libdan1 542 3261 if you want to join in and call. You know, you're more than welcome to, and actually you're more than welcome to, outside of the show, you're more than welcome to call and leave a voicemail if you just want to ask a question. If you think of something and you want to find out, you know, an answer to it, or you want me to play it on the show afterwards, you know, just leave a voicemail. We can do that. If you want to send a text message, you can also send the text message to that same number, 562 libdan1, and I can respond to them accordingly as well. Andrea says, can he do that though? I guess that's the problem with scrolling back through the chat and while I'm recording things live. I'm assuming can Trump do what though? What are you asking if Trump can do? See, oh my God, the Hunter Biden laptop still. Yes, the Hunter Biden laptop, the non-laptop. See, Kimchi again. Why are the Dems going along with the insane washing of this clown? He is clearly insane. The entire world sees it but us. I don't know. I'm not. I mean, I'm going to, you know, keep calling him MAGA von Schitz's pants or whatever. I'm going to keep calling him all that stuff. I'm going to keep pointing out how his ideas are absolutely insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. But yeah, I don't know why people are now just trying to treat him as if he's just another president now, and we have to treat him as such. No, F that. We're going to treat him as a Nazi because he's a Nazi. We're going to treat him as a bigot because he's a bigot. We're going to treat him because he's a risk to our national security because he's a risk to our national security. I'm not going to be like John Fetterman and sit here and say that we have to, I wish him well. I wish him success and luck. No, I don't wish him success, because wishing him success is wishing him success in what he wants to do, not in wishing him success in, you know, being a good leader for this country, because that's impossible for him to do. And the onus is on Donald Trump to prove himself to be somebody who we can trust or rely on. But just like the boy who cried wolf, you cry wolf enough, you're not going to trust the person ever again. So I have no reason to believe that Donald Trump would ever be somebody who is trustworthy, reliable on anything, except for the idea of trusting him to only look after his own best interests and nobody else's. So Kimchi, yes, nobody has courage anymore. Some, but yeah, especially in the media. The media lacks courage. Courage, as they say not Alice in Wonderland, in The Wizard of Oz. Sue, I work at an oil and gas company. Our oil production grew by 125% in the last 2 years. Well, I mean, there was less demand during the pandemic. And of course, Donald Trump took advantage. This is something that I don't know if I have the ability to look this up. It's one of my other conspiracy theories, and I've talked about it on the show, but I don't know if you've heard it, Sue. But basically, I've said that, you know, Donald Trump is responsible for the spike in gas in like 2021 and 2022 because he signed that deal with OPEC and Russia to artificially reduce output and production of oil during the pandemic, but that made no caveat for when we started coming out of the pandemic. But anybody who knows anything about economics would know that if you're artificially reducing the supply and the production of oil, and then demand skyrockets, then the price is going to skyrocket. So my conspiracy theory on this one is a simple one. Donald Trump did that specifically so that he can invest in oil and then make money off of it. I don't know if there's any way to track that or look that up. But absolutely, we should see if he took those actions, because then that would clearly show that the only reason he did that had nothing to do with protecting domestic oil producers, and had everything to do with his own greed. Do I have absolute proof that he did this? No. Do I believe that he's capable of it? Do I think it's plausible? Yes. And not only do I think it's plausible, I think it's probable. 222. We are following the Star Wars script of giving Emperor Palpatine dictatorial powers. And yes, and liberty dies with thunderous applause, just as Padme Amidala said in one of the Senator's chambers or apartments or what have you. Dean Baker, knowing the power of the dark side. Only one man would give me the raspberry. Lone Star. Sorry, wait, wrong movie. And there's so many Jar Jars. Misa think that Donald Trump is wonderful. Although, unfortunately, Ahmad Best, the actor who played Jar Jar, got way too much hate, and it was great seeing him, I think, in the, was it Obi-Wan Kenobi? The Kenobi series, where he, was a Jedi and was escaping from the onslaught and the attack on the Jedi Temple in Coruscant during Revenge of the Sith. So, see, these were written by someone with the intelligence of a 12-year-old. Well, I mean, it is Donald Trump. I think you're insulting 12-year-olds at that, though, Tim. Let's see. Can we nullify this when we get a Democratic president, Liberal Dan? Suzanne asks. Yes, with other executive orders. But that's the problem with executive orders, is that they don't have the, function of law. They're just executive orders. And, of course, when Democrats do executive orders, Republicans hate it. But when Republicans do executive orders, they love it. Now, executive orders serve a legitimate purpose because it directs their administration how to do the things they want to do under the law, but it should be under the law. And some of these executive orders are clearly not lawful. So, see how long before he's just playing the Imperial March to go on stage too? I don't know. He'll probably be, John Williams might sue him over it, maybe. I don't know. It's like, but maybe they'll do the Imperial March, but like with his voice, like, da 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 da. The Imperial March is too cool for Donald Trump, though. I don't think he should get the guy that. He should come up with his own horrific end of democracy theme song. Yeah, probably about the time they start goose-stepping down the street for his parades. Yes. And that's what these conservatives are doing. All these people like defending Elon Musk and trying to say that, all these other Democrats are doing it because they see a picture of a Democrat waving and they paused it right when the hand was like this, so it looks like they're giving the salute. But no, that's not the same thing as him actually giving the salute. Do we have to salute every time they play the YMCA now? No, but you have to jerk off both Elon and Putin. Elon Putin. YMCA. Elon Putin, YMCA. Hey. They have everything for they're meant to enjoy. You can hang out with all the goys. Sorry, that's the Jewish version. Although I always used to think, like, the part where it goes, you can get yourself clean, you can have a good meal, you could do whatever you feel. I used to think it said instead, you can get yourself clean, you could have a good meal, you could do what the fuck you feel. Young man, I was once in your shoes. Stupid. See, Dean Baker, how do you hold back with people like that? I just charge like an angry bull. You angry bull. I have a lot of times that sometimes will happen with me with like, with I'm in a situation where I might get angry, but I can't act on the anger. Just got to take a deep breath. Be like, namaste. Namaste right here. You're going to go attack that person? Nah, I'm going to stay right here. Steve says, I just can't wrap my head around it. So many people, WTF happened, and it's everywhere. Well, yeah, they were interviewing people today on the news. Again, another one of the other reasons why you can't trust the mainstream media when it comes. And I feel weird as being, well, because usually that's the conservative thing, to be lashing out at the lamestream media or the mainstream media or whatever. But they're sitting there interviewing like people, like individuals who are Muslims, who were like, we voted for Donald Trump because we feel that we can handle the next 4 years and the threats that are coming, because we needed to send a message that we matter too. Donald Trump isn't going to support you or the Palestinian people, and y'all are going to probably be one of the first that find out. The first time Netanyahu, either Hamas does something that Netanyahu wants them to do or whatever, or that Netanyahu does something to enrage whatever, the first time that this ceasefire breaks down, you're not going to see somebody in the Oval Office who's going to sit here and say, we need to try and do the best and try and, stop casualties. We need to have a reasonable discussion with both sides, sit people down. He's just going to be like, burn them all. Because and then the Palestinian folks who refuse to back Vice President Harris are going to be like, oop, we done messed up. And then they're going to be in the find out phase. And I don't wish it for them, but they made this bed and now they have to lay in it. Let's keep on scrolling all the way down. See, Highlander, as you are, outsiders looking in at the ongoing slow motion car crash and worrying how it may spill over into our reality, while all we can do is shake our heads in frustration. It's scary. It is very scary. Again, because I feel partially useless living here in Louisiana because there's nothing I can do at the state level to do anything because the state's run by crazy conservatives. So, what's up, Josh? Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Better late than never. See, how can Donnie unilaterally strip away constitutional rights? Where he can try. I can't imagine him being. I can't imagine the Supreme Court saying that his executive order is kosher. That being said, who knows? You can't trust the Supreme Court to not just bend over backwards or forwards for him, for Daddy Trump. Let's see. I'm almost at the bottom of the scroll. But yeah, he shouldn't be able to strip constitutional rights. But again, you need to have a Congress. We're supposed to have 3 branches of government to be checks on each other's power, not to make a figurehead president. Well, in reality, you really are going to end up having President Musk, wielding power via Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump just cares about a certain amount of things and to avoid prison. Yeah, Trump says Gulf of America now. Yeah. And I will continue to dead name the Gulf of America. I will call it the Gulf of Mexico because it's actually not even the dead name. I will continue to call it the Gulf of Mexico. I don't care. But let's see. There is one thing I do want to also record that I didn't include in my little list. Actually, this should probably be a Fat Man rant. So one of the things that I've been seeing going around on Facebook recently is a meme that discusses Donald Trump's anti-trans policies and how it affects certain conservatives who are also trans people. And the meme that's going around deals with Caitlyn Jenner and dead names her. And I'm going to say this very clearly, full-throatedly. While I will absolutely eat popcorn watching any and all conservatives who voted against their best interests entering the find out phase, we can point out Caitlyn Jenner's hypocrisy. We can point out the problems that we have with her politics. We can point out all of our issues and how we hope that Caitlyn Jenner joins the find out phase soon. We can do all that without dead naming her. Because here's just as if you make fun of Donald Trump with a fat joke, Donald Trump's never going to hear it, but the people who are going to hear it are the people who are fat that know you and then see you mocking somebody because of their weight. And while I don't cry for Donald Trump and having his feelings hurt, I mean, I doubt his black heart can have any feelings, but you don't make fun of fat people, even if you don't like the people who happen to be obese, because how it affects other people. Same thing with this. I'm not going to sit here and dead name Caitlyn Jenner and use the name she used when she participated in the Olympics. I'm not going to be using that to attack her, because that will clearly be seen as me and attacking trans folk. Because if you're willing to dead name somebody, you'll find a reason to be able to dead name anybody, and it's not okay. So if you see that meme going around, don't share it and call people out for using that meme, because it is wrong for them to do so, because we should not be getting used to the idea of dead naming folks. What do you think? Agree? Disagree? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and unless you're a Nazi, Have a good day. See, I had trouble searching something last night. Found out what his topic was another show. Let's see. Apparently, settled law, stare decisis doesn't mean shit to this radical SCOTUS. Well, they've been going against stare decisis for years now. I mean, I've had shows from way back in the day when I had very few people listening or watching or whatever that basically said that we needed to impeach Alito, we needed to impeach Thomas because they don't care about that. All right, looks like Big Hook is calling in again, so let's go ahead and answer this real quick. Sorry, I'm being a little late with it. Yep. There we go. We got Big Hook on the line. Thank you, Big Hook, for calling. What's going on?
Hi. Well, just wondering how things are going, because I have to say, all the rest of the world is sort of looking at you guys with intrepidation as to how bad and how sad it's going to turn out. I mean, he's written all those executive orders or whatever, and none of them mean much of anything. I mean, outside of, trying to scare the rest of the world to comply with his idiocy. It's hard to
let's
see
be
where
clear.
it's
I'm sure
going.
he didn't write them. I'm sure Project 2025 and those people wrote them, especially with those that are connected to Project 2025 clearly. But yeah, I mean, at this point, there's really not much that we can do as the citizenry, except for make sure that we keep our heads on a swivel, to make sure that we talk about every single thing he does and to call out every single thing he does, every single thing the politicians who support him do, and make a list and check it twice, because a lot of these people are naughty and definitely not nice. So we need to make sure that we're on top of that. But there's really, besides doing what the J6ers did, which I'm not saying that we should do, maybe there's one thing I used to say a long time ago, back during the first Trump presidency, was I would just vaguely say, remember when the Egyptian military prevented a horrible person from taking power in a coup and then made sure that there was a good transition to a new leader? I was like, maybe our military needs to keep track of that, because there may very well come a point where Donald Trump crosses a line that even is too far for them. I mean, we've already seen the Fraternal Order of Police crying over the fact that he pardoned people who attacked cops. And I'm like, y'all knew he was going to do that. He told you he was going to do it. So why are you now crying over the fact that he did it after y'all endorsed him? So, but
yeah. But this is the thing, though, now, like Rachel Maddow was saying, we need to shame them and endlessly shame them. And every time we get a camera in front of them, we have to ask them the same question over and over and over again.
Yes.
And, be relentless and, reveal these people for who they are and how they don't really serve the people. They serve themselves and their billionaire masters, which is... so clear now, more so than ever. I mean, it just worries me because, like, as I said in the comments, you've got the crypto scam already that's going on, right? I mean, right. That alone could crash the economy from there, which is, it'd be basically Bush 2.0 mortgage scandal again, I just, it's frustrating because, we told these horrible tales like Dracula, and then we're like, oh, what did he do? And they were like, yeah, he got these great big, poles, and then, made big points on the end of them and inserted people inside of them rectally and just let them hang there for days. And it's like, are we coming to this point? Because it seems to be that the stupidity is taking us backwards in evolution, where we're resorting to savagery. I mean, everyone now is thinking, gee, maybe I should get a gun now because I don't know if I can trust my neighbors, and the paranoia is going to spread. And, chaos could possibly ensue. I mean, we see it every bloody day with all the mass shootings already. I mean, what? We had another school shooting there today, I think, right?
Right. Yes, correct.
I mean, you.
Unfortunately, my thing is that I try and be as optimistic as much as possible. Not just for the fact that trying to uplift the listeners and try and give them hope, but because, I personally do try and also be optimistic, again, as much as I can be. That being said, I think things are going to have to get a lot worse before they start getting better. I think people are going to have to realize just how badly they screwed up by letting this man back in the Oval Office. Because you have the people who are, who would normally vote Democratic, but who voted for Trump this time because they were mad at Biden's policy between Israel and Hamas. You had people who, you had other people, union people who thought, the Teamsters or whatever, who, thought, who ironically or 4 years ago, or a little bit, but more than 4 years ago, who were using the Lucy and the football analogy when listening to conservatives and trickle down economics, who then refused to endorse anybody because the vast majority of the union members support Trump. But that's stupid for anybody in union to support labor because it shows you're not knowing what you're talking about. You have whole bunches of people. You have people in Florida who voted to support abortion rights in their constitution, while also voting for Trump, the person who was responsible for the need to try and enshrine abortion rights in the Constitution of the state of Florida, in which they failed. All of these people voted against their best interests, and all of these people are going to have to start feeling the pain of their decisions before things start to turn around. And hopefully, enough people will start realizing the pain of their decisions within the next 2 years, and that way we'll be able to at least have some sort of, positive election and maybe take back a house of the Congress to stop any of the crap that he wants to do. But I don't know at that point if it'll be too late or if he'll be able to push it so far that it won't matter anymore. So,
well, that's the thing for me, because I think he's going to pull as much shit as he possibly can over the next 2 years, and basically cash out and hand it over to Vance. Because at that point he will be so unpopular, and he'll just say, "Oh, you know what? My health has gone downhill, and the stress is too much for me to handle. Bye bye. I'll disappear somewhere else, and and I'll take all my winnings with me."
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I see it at this point. But at that point, it'll be too late, because what's going to happen if we're in Vance's hands? Now we're at the, we're under, what's his name, Theo and Musk's, crazy ideology, which is, I don't know where we're going with this.
Well, Musk can never be president without a constitutional amendment. But that being said, Musk is probably going to do everything he can to keep Trump in there, because that's the way he will get to exert presidential power without being elected, is by basically saying, "Hey, Donnie boy, here's how to do this." And what I'm waiting to see with Musk is see whether or not X or Twitter is going to merge with Truth Social as another way to pump more money into Donald Trump's pocket.
Yeah, but the other possibility is that he's going to buy the half share of TikTok, then
he'll buy the half share, and then the United States will buy the other half, and then it'll be a joint venture between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, or not Donald Trump, but the U.S. government under Donald Trump's rule, which is fascism, and people don't get that.
Well, not only that, but let's face it. I almost think he's already has a deal with the Chinese already to say, "Oh, well, I get 100% ownership of Tesla in China, but I will buy the half share of TikTok, and I will let you run your algorithm and do whatever nonsense you want to do in behind the scenes, and we'll just hide it and say, "Oh, it's just me," running
Well,
the
that's the
show. When
thing. I
in
mean,
fact,
people are gonna, just because a U.S. company is running it or the U.S. government is gonna run it, doesn't mean that the algorithms behind it are going to be any better. They'll probably get worse because they'll probably Donald Trump, if he's in charge of it or whatever, Elon Musk is going to be like, let's put these people's feeds and shove more of this BS in their faces. Like as soon as Musk bought Twitter, my feed went from being, annoying leftists like that are really far to the left that would like be arguing with me, but it would still be conversations amongst people on the left. And then I stopped seeing all those posts once Musk bought Twitter, and then now I see all the conservative type posts. So I mean, that's the problem. That's a lot of the problems that why people call TikTok malware is because of the way that they manipulate the For You page to show you things that they want you to see instead of things that you might actually legitimately want to see organically. So,
yeah, well, that's the problem I see now. I worry that YouTube is, possibly going to, submit to him, and that they're going to, throttle the only voice that we have currently on the internet. Where and I mean the thing is that they're basically holding us hostage by, making sure that they limit the monetization that we have, and that, unless you go and you use the, you give your subscribers give you money directly. I mean, it's hard to keep going. I mean, like I said earlier, you have your own job to protect your health care as well as other things. And, as a content creator, I mean, unless you're doing over 1 million subs,
yeah.
How on earth do you pay your daily costs?
Exactly.
So I mean, for most people, it's basically a part-time, fantasy to think that you could exist on what it is. I mean,
yeah, there's no way it could happen. There's no way it could happen now, which is why I'm 2 to 3 hours each day, twice a week, because there's no way that I could justify this. But now, if I for some reason lost my job, I'd probably start doing this more full time just to try and get my name out there whilst looking for a new position. But there's you can't survive on this without a huge following. I mean, I know Hal has hundreds of thousands, but he also has his Nerd Halen stuff. He also has other kind of outlets that he can get money from as well. But other than that, yeah, you can't. Doing this full time is requires a large audience. And then one of the problems that I've seen for like 20, 30 years at this point almost is that people on the left, people who are left leaning, a lot of us don't want to listen to talk radio, don't want to listen to political opinions all day. We'd rather listen to more fun stuff. And while I can sympathize with the fact that, yeah, I might want to listen to some awesome music every once in a while instead of listening to, political pundits talk about what they want to talk about, we're not in a situation where we can afford to do that right now. We need all hands on deck. And the people who are on the left need to realize that and need to find their several podcasts, shows, content creators, etc., who they like, and then back them and then push other people to back them as well. Because even if I'm not making a huge amount of money doing this, we still need to do this to fight back against all the conservative content creators who are going to be posting their BS, like all of the crap with people and Elon Musk's, mustache man salute that he gave, and everyone's like, oh, well, here's a picture of these people doing it, and it's the same picture every time, but everybody's sharing because they all think they have a unique idea, or they saw somebody else do it and just joining that bandwagon. It's like, there's a difference between a picture and a video, and people with intelligent brains would understand that. But again, there's a reason why Donald Trump said he doesn't like the poorly educated, or he loves the poorly educated, after the 2016 Nevada primaries. So
yeah, but here's the thing that gets me is that when the Democrats hold the levers of power, all of a sudden the world operates on a rational level. And as soon as the Republicans get into power, it's stress, it's greed on all fronts. It's, oh, well, that's silly. I can't make a buck off of you anymore. We have to stop this shit because that's not free speech. And it's like, I'm sorry, I sleep better at night when the Democrats are in power. I know that there is a set of morals and ethics at play, and that they're going to follow the world order when it comes to international law and rules and regulations, and that they're going to make steps forward to protect the future. And I can't say that about the Republicans. I mean, at this point, I don't know what to think about anymore, because these guys just stress me out. And I mean, and that stress is being channeled into anger that the maggots are going around carrying their AR-15s and going, you disagree with me, huh? You want to meet me out in the parking lot? And it's like,
right,
dude, it's, you might as well take that AR-15 and just shoot yourself in the foot. It's so frustrating, because we're dealing with people who don't have the intellectual capacity to understand what's truly going on, and they don't look to the future. Everything is, oh, well, how better off will I be tomorrow? And it's like, you need to be thinking much further into the future. I mean, I'm sorry. I've lived on the planet long enough to see the climate change. It's apparent every single day. This winter alone here in
8 inches to a foot in snow in New Orleans. There's the fact that people complain that there's no climate change is just silly.
And guess what? That snow probably should have been in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And we haven't had any snow. And this is the time of year that we normally get it. And, here it is again. Texas and Louisiana are getting the snow, and the polar vortex has dropped down again. And, these 500-year events are now happening every 2 years. It's, you can't ignore it anymore. We did these records so that way we could, see a threat coming or see a trend of a threat coming, and people are like, oh, you just think you're smarter than the rest of us. And it's like, because we are smarter than the rest of you.
Yeah.
We want you don't stand in front of a speeding car and think, he's gonna he'll swerve and miss me. I'm sorry, I ain't taking that chance. I'm getting the fuck off the road.
Right.
There ain't no, I mean, it is frustrating. It is really frustrating. It's worrying. It's stressful. I feel like I'm aging 10 years every year when the Republicans are in power. It's just gotten to the point where, it's greed for the sake of greed. It gets worse and worse, and yet these people can't see the forest through the trees. I mean, it's just. I wonder if the Civil War is inevitable, and whether or not it's going to be a case of the Democrats will basically hold the northern states, and the Republicans will have to live in the southern states. And I don't know, maybe it'll be Mexico will have to ship their food over to California, and then it'll be distributed up through all the Democratic states instead of crossing over Mexico because of Texas and their racism and bigotry. I don't know.
They'll have to go up into California, and then they'll have to go around Canada to get it back around to New York. So, which will not be good in the winter months, probably. Well, unless the climate shifts even more. But it's
I know,
terrifying thing. It's a terrifying thing, but I try and be as optimistic as possible. But this is the thing. It's
dystopian.
Right.
It's dystopian fears brought to us by the Republicans, and it happens every single time. And they all go, "Oh, well, we know better than you. Look, we're rich." And it's like, yeah, because you stole from the poor.
Exactly.
Every time you get into power, gee,
Only thing about the Civil
you
War
know,
that I don't quite get is, like, I don't know how that happens, because a lot of times you do, like, I don't know if you had as many, like, for example, I don't know if Louisiana back in slavery days had many, if any, people who were really, like, on the left hand side of things, who were like, what, slavery's really bad. Like, you probably had more, you probably didn't have like a third of the state or more of the people saying, what, these policies are bad. Like if New Orleans, like if there was a split where the country was like, okay, we're gonna split these states off, and these states are gonna be the new Confederacy, and these states are gonna be the United States of America, like New Orleans, what would New Orleans do? Would we fight against that and be like, no, we're remaining new, we're staying out of the Louisiana because we don't support Louisiana, we'd rather stay in the United States of America, but then we're the main port at the end of the Mississippi River, so then what? So, would it be forced down our throats to be able to have to live in the horribleness of the new Confederate Louisiana or not? It's bizarre. But anyway,
well,
I do have a couple. Go ahead.
Louisiana is sort of an oxymoron because you have a multiculturalism which has given you great things, like whether it be jazz, really great food and all sorts of other things, and then they go and they say, oh, no, we're white rednecks, and we invented it, and it's like, no, you didn't. It. I mean, it's just it's stupidity on steroids.
Yeah,
where you can't see how good you have it, and you fail to acknowledge that diversity is how you grow and you get exposed to bigger and better things. I mean, that's the thing. But anyway, I've probably taken up too much time. So anyway,
we appreciate it. But thank you again for calling Big Hook. Again, always welcome to call anytime. Anybody else want to call? It's 562-LIBDAN1, 562-LIBDAN1. And again, thank you so much for the call, and you have a great rest of your night.
You as well. Thanks, Dan. I always love calling in. Thanks.
Appreciate you. All right, bye-bye. All right, one thing I did happen to see on my, that was a loud hang-up, things I saw on my news or whatever as I was kind of doom scrolling on. It is this new thing that I didn't see before the podcast started. Federal employees are told to name colleagues who work in DEI roles or risk, quote, adverse consequences. Federal employees received emails Wednesday warning that they could face repercussions if they do not report on coworkers who work in diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility positions that might have gone unnoticed by government supervisors. We are aware of efforts by some in government to disguise those programs by using coded language or imprecise language. What? Just because y'all did that in Project 2025, you think that everybody else is going to do it as well? Said email sent to government employees obtained by NBC News. Employees were directed to notify the Office of Personnel Management if they are, quote, aware of a change in any contract description or personnel position description since November 5th, 2024, to obscure the connection between the contract and the DEIA or similar ideologies. There will be no adverse consequences for timely reporting of this information. However, failure to report this information with 10 days may result in adverse consequences. And what are those adverse consequences? Who the hell knows? It's the Donald Trump presidency. Anything is possible. We send you to the gulag. Workers across multiple agencies and departments have received emails with the same language. The White House spokespeople did not immediately respond to questions about the nature of the adverse consequences or how directive would be enforced. The OPM issued a memo Tuesday directing heads of departments and agencies to send a notice to employees by 5. On Wednesday, the office provided a template email that multiple heads used. It is unclear if any department agency altered or omitted the DEI reporting language to their employees. So yeah, basically they're having the people who work for the U.S. government now rat on each other to make sure that they tell, oh, this person does a DEI role, that person does a DEI role, and basically making it, I guess, putting the fear of getting terminated or maybe even worse in their heads to make sure that they comply with this order. Jan, I'll get to that in a second. So there's that. So that's definitely something that needs to be looked into, and we will keep our eyes peeled for what those adverse conditions might be. Again, they got the emails today, so by February 2nd, by the beginning of February, we should start seeing whether or not these people have their quote adverse consequences. And of course, many of the people that they knew were in these sort of roles have been sent home with pay currently, I guess, as they evaluate what they can do about them. And Dean says that does not apply to private businesses yet, but it could very well apply to contracts that are made with private businesses. So if you have a contract made with a private business, with if that business contracts with the federal government and that business involves any sort of things that they would label DEI, because again, what they label DEI and what DEI actually is are two completely diverse, different sets of information, sets of things. So, hey Kevin, good to see you. So other things, something on Forbes that just popped up in my news feed. Payments for some student loan borrowers could triple in 2025. A perfect storm is brewing for millions of federal student loan borrowers who may experience drastic increases in their monthly payments later this year. Several Biden-era student loan forgiveness initiatives have either been struck down or withdrawn, and mass debt relief is unlikely to happen under the Trump administration. Meanwhile, the SAFE Plan, another key Biden-era program, remains blocked due to a legal challenge and appears poised to either get overturned by the Federal Appeals Court or repealed by congressional Republicans in an upcoming reconciliation bill. Many other borrowers on income-driven repayment plans may also see larger than expected spikes in their monthly payments as they update their income with their loan servicer, in some cases for the first time in 5 years or more. Any one of these issues may cause borrowers to see an increase in their student loan payments, but the combination of these intersecting developments could cause Americans to wind up with a student loan bill that is several times the amount that they have been paying. SAVE Plan could lead repeal could lead to increases in millions of student loan payments, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. And I've talked about this on the podcast before. If this happens, if Donald Trump makes it so that I have to pay, $300, $400, $500 more than what I'm paying on my current student loans, I'm hosed. I don't know what I'm going to do at that point. And you can't just declare bankruptcy, because in most cases you can't declare bankruptcy and have your student loans written off. You'd have to basically you'd have to find a good attorney who can make a cogent enough of an argument to say this debt needs to also be included in the bankruptcy, and here's why. But odds are that's not going to happen. So, no, according to what the Department of Education sent me as pertaining to my student loan payments, we may not see what that new payment might be until the end of the year. That being said, who knows with them and what they're going to do. If they can totally just repeal all these federal programs and get rid of DEI and do all this other stuff, imagine what they're going to do when it comes to actual money coming into the government, right? So, see, Jan asked, how is my wife doing? I could see that she looks a little better, she feels a little better, but she still has the issue of just things taste terrible. So I'm concerned that, in a week or two, we'll just end up, if they can't figure out what the hell's going on with her. I mean, she's going to have a scheduled MRI, a scheduled spinal tap, but she's going to go see, I think they want to send her to a podiatrist, they want to send her to all sorts of things to deal with to try and figure out why any of these issues might be happening, so they can figure out exactly what's wrong, because that's the problem. We don't know what's wrong currently. So, that being said, I'm very concerned about the idea that she might have to go back to the hospital one more time, yet again, to deal with issues like dehydration. I mean, she is tolerating her Pedialyte. She's having some protein drinks as well, though she doesn't really like it. I'm trying to get her to be like, you have to drink this. If you don't drink this, there's going to be a problem. But again, I don't know. I don't know what else to do other than support her and take her wherever she needs to go and do whatever it is that she can't do because she's having to deal with her health issues. So, Dean Baker, absolutely. You're one of a very rare few people who know that the Republicans changed the bankruptcy laws in 2005 in regards to student loans, and that to me, when that happened back then, I was like, this is a bait and switch, because when I signed my student loans, my initial promissory notes that I signed were from before 2005. My initial promissory notes that I signed included, a situation where I could have my loans written off in bankruptcy, and now they've flipped the script on me. They did a bait and switch. They said, here's all your student loans. Oh, by the way, you can't write them off in bankruptcy. Thanks. So what is a lot of times most people's biggest amount of debt now can't be written off in student loans. Either probably in bankruptcy, I mean, either student loans or medical debt is probably the two big drivers of debt in this country, at least not secured debt. Thank you, Jan. Appreciate your thoughts and good wishes. So we might get through this, but we'll be all bent up and stuff. Yeah, pretty much. There's going to be a lot. Let's see. I'd supplement with more potassium and magnesium. Not sure Pedialyte is enough. There is potassium in one of the protein drinks that she's drinking. I think her doctor also just prescribed her a potassium supplement on top of all the other stuff that she's been prescribed. So hopefully that will help, and hopefully we'll be able to get that soon. But at the moment, we can't go to the... we're not supposed to be out driving because now that the weather's going down... the temperature's dropping. We had a lot of ice melting, and now it's going to freeze again. And then, what happens? The road's going to be black ice, slippery, and there's going to be a crap ton of accidents of idiots who go out driving tomorrow who shouldn't have been going out to drive tomorrow, right? So, I appreciate you, Josh, and I appreciate the positivity, Jeff, as well. Yes, it is still dangerous here as well with all of the ice and snow. Off to the land of the ice and snow. Who knew that Led Zeppelin would eventually be singing about... Who knew that Led Zeppelin would be... That Led Zeppelin song, at least, would be appropriate for New Orleans. If any song from Led Zeppelin would be appropriate for New Orleans, it was always When the Levee Breaks. If it keeps on raining, the levee's gonna break. If it keeps on raining, the levee's gonna break. When the levee breaks, we'll have no place to stay. But yeah, that was the song that I used to kind of joke around about pre-Katrina. Of course, I'm singing that song on August 29th, 2005. Almost damn 20 years ago that Katrina took place. This year, it'll be 20 years. I'm sitting there in Houston singing that song or playing that song, and then all of a sudden, we had levees break, and I'm like, oops, maybe I shouldn't have been singing that or whatever. But that would be, that used to be the appropriate song for New Orleans. But because of climate change, now we have to worry about the land of the ice and snow. Yeah. So... See, Kevin, Michael, I see Trump wishing he never took office soon. One can only hope, but I don't know if he is... The problem with MAGA-type conservatives, especially with Donald Trump in and of himself, is that they can never admit that they were wrong. So Donald Trump would never admit a mistake. So if him running for office was a mistake, he'll never admit the mistake. He'll just double down on his mistakes and double down on the awfulness to make sure that people don't know that it was the biggest mistake that he did. So... See, Dean, the last of the frozen snow at my apartments is the front of my door. We did have some melting going on, like some of the, like our patio melted. The snow that actually ended up under the trampoline, it's now mud under there, which is going to be wonderful when my dogs come in. One of my biggest issues with this snow, the last time it got cold enough to freeze, I ran my pump. I ran the pump for the pool to make sure that the water would keep cycling around. I tried to run the pump the other day and it wouldn't turn on. So I am sitting here now thinking that it's very well possible that if I want to keep my pool, that I'm going to have to get an entirely new pumping system to deal with the fact that the motor for the pump and the things leading to and out of the pump may very well crack or be damaged at this point. Who knows? I did put a tarp over it, so hopefully the snow over it and the tarp over it might keep it warm enough, but we're going to have to wait for it to completely thaw out for me to try and run it again. And if it doesn't run, that's even more money that I'm going to have to spend, if I can even afford it, to get this fixed. So just to add another thing to the amount of money that I'm going to have to spend pertaining to that sort of stuff. The reason I have a pool is twofold. We needed something to do in the middle of the pandemic, because we used to go to like the YMCA to go swimming because we had a cheap YMCA membership. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Putin Musk. But one of my grandparents passed away at the time, and I inherited a little bit of money, and I used some of that money to then justify buying the pool. I've asked this question a lot, and I've actually asked that y'all call in, leave a voicemail, leave a text message. If you're a patron, put the Patreon thing in there. What are the things that you thought that you would have as an adult if you were thinking of this as a kid? You think of this as a kid. What things did you think as a kid would mean you were successful as an adult? Could be crazy, wild things. Could be very simple things. But no one ever really answered that question, except for I think Demonox might have sent that in too. But even then, it was kind of like off script. So one of there was 3 things that I thought as a kid that would tell me that I was successful. Not rich, not wealthy, but I was at the point where I would want to be in my life, using my thoughts as a kid as a guide. The first thought, being able to go to Disney World every year. And that was a reality for a good long bit. Is it a reality now? It's gotten far too expensive, so it may not very well be a reality now. But back in the day, I was hitting that. Number 2, again, this is me thinking as a kid, to be able to have a we got an incoming call. Hold on a second. We're going to answer the call as well and see who it is. All right, hold on a second. We are going to accept this, and we are going to... Oh, what happened? Michael hang up. We had Michael on the phone, but for some reason it hung up after I accepted the call. I don't know why. This doesn't happen with Big Hook, but I think it happens with Michael. Maybe he just wanted maybe he wanted it to say his name on the air, but I keep it silent so y'all don't have to hear it ringing. But if you do want to call back and not just want to have your name play over the air, Michael, Mr. Hunt, you're more than welcome to call in so we can have a discussion. But anyway, so the first thing, go to Disney every year. Second thing that made me feel like I would be successful was having a refrigerator with an ice maker and the water dispenser in the door. So, I thought that was cool, a cool thing to have. I have that too. And the third thing was owning a pool. I've since realized that means all of that stuff means nothing. It just means I'm like the pool. You just spend more and more money on it. The cost to upkeep the pool is much worse than the cost of whatever doing the pool. Let's see if we can get this to work again. Let's see. Did this work this time? Do we have Michael on the air?
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, man? How are you today?
Doing good. Hey, as long as you don't go and ruin that pump by trying to go and circulate it, I think you'll be fine.
Wait, as long as I don't try and ruin the pool by what?
By trying to circulate it.
Oh, well, see, I was trying to circulate it previously, and it didn't work. Now I tried to. Last time we had a freezing temperature, I did circulate it while the weather got cold, and it helped. I'm assuming it helped protected it. Now I tried to flip it on once, like before the snow came, and it wouldn't turn on. So I'm hoping that me covering it, it'll keep it good. But if it doesn't, and it ends up having if it ends up having been either frozen the night before and I didn't realize it, or whatever, I may have to buy a new pump. I don't know. but we'll see. But it's
Nah,
too late to worry about it now.
Okay.
It should be okay. All right. Well, that gives me a little bit of hope. So what else is going on with you,
As long
Michael?
as you
Good
don't
to
try
talk
to
to you.
circulate it, you'll be fine.
All right.
As long as you don't try to circulate it, you should be fine. I would just take everything and just put it on pause.
Will do.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to talk about, or just give me some pool advice?
I just want to say hi.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for all of the support that you've given and all the contributions in chat. Appreciate you, man, and I hope you have a good rest of your night.
You too.
All right, man. Thank you. All right.
Bye.
That was Michael Hunt. Again, I should probably turn off the audio before I hang up so you don't hear it, because it goes completely in the red. Did y'all hear my phone ringing as that popped up? Because I'm concerned now that I'm going to start getting a copyright violation ding simply because of the fact that I have my ringtone is Man in the Box, and I don't want to, and it's going to go over YouTube, and they're going to get me in trouble because you hear Man in the Box. I've now since turned off my ringtone, so you can't hear it again. So, let's see. Our streets clogged with frozen snow sludge here in Savannah, Georgia. Yeah, can you even imagine, CR, that you would have to deal with that issue in Savannah, freaking Georgia? Like, again, like I took pictures and I shared the pictures on my personal Facebook page or whatever. I can't believe that my street looked like my street looked like. It's absolutely bizarre that my street, got as much snow as it did. I don't have a covered pool. I do have a cover for the pool, but I've never actually put the cover on the pool. It is an outdoor pool. It is like 18 round, I think it is. That being said, it's turned out to be a lot more money than I thought it would be worth. That I thought it would not be that much money. I knew there was going to be some maintenance costs involved, but holy crap, the amount of maintenance costs involved in keeping this pool swimmable has been ridiculous, especially this last year. So yes, YouTube is touchy. If I make a mistake and have anything going on that's wrong, when it comes to copyright violations, hell, it's all automated at this point. So if you're doing something that's covered by fair use, you have to make that argument. There's no human intervention involved. It's one of the reasons why the first show that I did when I played Steamboat Mickey or Steamboat Willie, and Steamboat Willie was in the public domain, so I decided, hey, we're going to play this now because it's in the public domain. I got a copyright violation because they didn't fix their algorithms to catch that sort of thing, which is one of my problems with how YouTube copyright requests work. There should be some human intervention should be required on the part of the reporting party. Like, you should have to be like, okay, here is the automatic flag where I'm going to pick up that this copyright is being, quote, violated. There should be some sort of human thing that has to take a look and say, oh, this is an actual copyright violation. Oh, this isn't one. Let me do a human verification before actually determining whether or not we're going to, put a copyright strike on this account. Now, I don't necessarily have any copyright strikes on my accounts. Most of the things where copyright issues come up actually just is like, this video is going to share revenue with somebody else, so that's fine. But that being said, it's very frustrating. Like when on my Nerdy Dan channel, nerdydan.com here on YouTube, just nerdydan, DOTCOM, that's the username. I do the gaming stream on Tuesdays usually. But anyway, with the nerdydan.com thing, I was doing a review of, I was trying to do a live reaction to a Game of Thrones episode or something, where I was doing some sort of commentary on a Game of Thrones episode. I took the video from the Game of Thrones episode, captured it, put it in. I submitted and uploaded the video to YouTube. I got a violation that violated someone's copyright, even though it was fair use, in less amount of time than it would take a human to actually get to the point of the video where it was. So let's say the video was 7 minutes long and the violation was at 5 minutes. I published the video at 10 o'clock p.m. my time. At 10:02, I got a warning that I had some copyright flag or something, some music that was in the background of the show, which basically means that they had an automatic process, because there's no way that a human would have watched it immediately when it got there and then got to the point where the copyright violation took place. That's part of the huge problems. Of course, the other problem, like, and sometimes the automated systems don't even take into consideration that it's not actually the real thing. Like, if I started whistling the part of Winds of Change, like, but did it better? If I started doing that, for example, but actually made it a better whistle, I purposely didn't whistle as well as I should have. Some automated copyright software might be like, hey, you just violated the Winds of Change copyright, from Scorpions or whatever. Somebody was doing like the Mission Impossible theme. I know it was just the two dudes on the show doing the pa pa like that, but did the whole thing, and that triggered the copyright violation. I guess they did such a good job of doing the dun 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 that. They did such a good job of that it made the software think, oh, they're violating the copyright and playing the Mission Impossible theme. And it actually got them demonetized for a bit until they fought it and was like, oh, it wasn't really a violation of their copyright. Stupid. So, Dean, my puppy perked up when you whistled. Hey, puppy, how you doing, puppy? Yeah, you're getting a copyright strike just for calling him Steamboat Mickey. Yeah, I mean, that was just I should deserve a copyright strike for that, right? Because I didn't call him Mickey. Dan said some sort of human thing. Yeah, some sort of human intervention. I don't know how that human intervention would be, but there should be some sort of human interactivity with the process that requires a human to check off that says, yes, this is valid. No, this is not. This is a false positive, for example. 10 years I've been violated by YouTube using free music. Nice. Well, even then, like the Nimbus Everland Evening Land or whatever that I play coming in and going out of the shows every time, I can't play it on Twitch because Twitch is like, this is not allowed because you're only supposed to use this music for free on YouTube, and I can use it for free on YouTube. It doesn't cause me to have any copyright violations. It automatically puts the information into the show. Hey, you're using this Evening Land song by the band group Nimbus or whatever, or by the creator Nimbus who created this thing for you, and there you go, or for anybody to use, and we just happen to be using it. So, see, I did a copyright violation in school, and YouTube never caught it. And there are some times when YouTube doesn't catch it. It's bizarre. I don't understand. That's one of the things I'm concerned about with when I do my gaming streams. Like if you play one of the games and there's music in the game, like an emote, and you're like dancing, but it's like there's one where they do Snoop's "Drop It Like It's Hot." Maybe I should stop playing that one anymore because I'm mad at Snoop because he was my hypocrite of the week this week. But because him and Trump are now all buddy now. But I don't do that emote when I'm live playing. I do another emote because I don't want to have the issue of me having to deal with copyright issues on my Twitch stream over on my Nerdy Dan channel, simply because I played a sound in game, and sometimes I worry that. And you have a setting where you don't hear any of the copyrighted music, but I want to be able to enjoy the game while playing it. So who knows? But I mean, then again, Hal got the copyright violation on Twitch when he was covering one of the presidential debates or whatever, because he was, I guess, doing a live reaction to that, which is one of the reasons when I do live reactions to debates and stuff, we do it Mystery Science Theater 3000 style, where I just put Joel, Tom Servo, and Crow right there. And we do it that way, and instead of streaming that audio and video to the screen, I then have y'all watch it at home whilst also watching me. So you're only allowed to speak with a human, and if you pay for YouTube ads, pretty much, I'm sure. But that's not even the thing I'm talking about. I'm talking about that if you are going to submit a copyright violation claim against another channel, there should be the organization making the claim should have to have a human involved at some point in the steps before the complaint is finalized, so that people aren't getting nabbed for false positives, especially when it comes to things like fair use. Because I could sit there, I could do a reaction video to something that's copyrighted, I could do a critique on something that's copyrighted, and I could use that copyrighted material to do those critiques and reaction videos, whatever, and that's all covered by fair use. But YouTube doesn't understand fair use. when it comes to if you're using it fairly or not. And now they're going to rely more and more on artificial intelligence, and, well, artificial intelligence is artificial, and there are lots of things that it fails to do properly. So, see, Scorpions does a good show, and Def Leppard. I did see Def Leppard in concert a long time ago, but it was still after their heyday, and there was some songs where he just could not hit it. Just no. It was fun for most of it, but there were some songs where I'm like, look, bro, you need to alter how you sing the song to make sure you don't crack, because that's how sometimes some singers will do it. Like when I would go to a Rush concert, there's some notes that maybe Geddy Lee didn't feel like he could hit, and as such, he would kind of go down instead of go up. Oh my, and yeah. So there's all that, and whatever. It was an interesting I think that concert was Def Leppard, Journey, and what was it? Def Leppard and Journey, and John Waite. Because I know John Waite was one of the concerts, and all of a sudden, John Waite starts playing, and I know what some of the other John Waite songs, and then it starts playing "Missing You," and I'm like, wait, isn't this song from Bad English? I'm like, was John Waite in Bad English? Guess he was. So I got to hear that song that I wasn't expecting to hear in concert. And then, no, maybe it was John Waite, Peter Frampton, and Journey at the one concert, but it wasn't Steve Perry Journey. I haven't seen Journey with Steve Perry or the new guy, the Asian guy. I've only seen it with the two in the middle, like Steve Augury or whatever. And then the other concert that I went to was Journey and Def Leppard, and then that's when I saw Def Leppard, and it wasn't as great as I would have liked it to have been or whatever. Janelle, did Snoop show up and ever saw he was there? Yes, he did. He did show up, as far as I know. Because a lot of people are his Droop Sog now. Nice. Droop Doggy Dog. We can ask AI what it thinks about the other vowels. I don't like them all the time, but sometimes why? Let's see, gaming stream. Should I video when I play my Ms. Pac-Man machine? Absolutely. I mean, there are definitely people who would watch playing old school games. Absolutely, 100%. And hey, as long as it's fun and you're having fun with it, I don't care. Oh gee, what did I do? What did I say that made you say oh geez? Was the sometimes why joke? Is that what that was? He was when Journey was called Bad English. No. Wait, Journey wasn't called Bad English. I don't know. I'm weird. All right, Dean, you have a good night. Appreciate you. I'm heading off too, because we've been, even though this was a longer show than I have been doing recently, it's still 2.5 hour show. It still kind of flew by real quick. We got 2 callers. We got Big Hook. We got Michael Hunt calling in. I'll go ahead and shut down the call lines now. It is what it is. I need to get the soundboard up and running again. I've given up. I think my issue with that is, like, I think the issue with my soundboard not working properly, even with the very simple one, is the fact that I think it's my laptop. Oh, but I was going to show one thing before I head off. I did want to show one thing that, let's see if I can find, this is hers. Let's see. I want to open this in a new tab. Why did I not have the option? There it is. Open image in new tab. There we go. I sent her another picture of me on. Let me see if I can pull that one up as well. Cause no, I also posted this one to my page. Hold on. Let me try. There it is. And for some reason, this picture is amazingly weird, because the one of the pictures I'm going to show you is clearly, it looks like I photoshopped it, but it's not. Let's see, open this in a new tab, and then we're going to open, oh, that's kind of a crappy picture. There we go. That's good enough. All right, so let's open the alternate window again. So there's me out on the street, looking at, taking a selfie with all the snow. And I don't know what happened with the lighting on this picture or whatever, but it looks like I'm photoshopped into this picture. But in reality, it's a real picture. This is my van. This is my old van covered with snow. This is how the street looks. I would have never in a million years thought New Orleans would have looked like this. That's what my house looked like last night after the snow stopped. Both of my cars, all three of our cars, because these are the two Kias that I've told you all about with my Kia rants. I need to get that Kia rant running, but that's what my little house looks like. And again, that's another shot down the street of how the street looks without my selfie there. And this is from this morning, the house and the snow, with some of the snow having melted off the vehicles as well, some of the icicles on the thing and everything like that. So nice pretty blue sky and a whole bunch of snow that we have. Some plows that we rented apparently from Indiana, which is, I was a little bit shocked about that we actually we're going to have plows here and that things are going to get plowed. That's not the only thing that got plowed Tuesday night. Yeah, haha. I bet there are a lot of people that got plowed Tuesday night. And that there's probably going to be a New Orleans baby boom going on in New Orleans baby boom. Unfortunately, hopefully it's not a southern baby boom, because that's going to be problematic if we ever want to take this damn country back from the conservatives that currently run it. But I'm sure there's a lot of people who try to stay warm, and trying to stay warm, they probably did several things, including getting plowed, which may cause a lot of new infants to be born within the end of this year. So by Halloween babies, there's probably going to be a lot of Halloween babies around the end of October. A lot of people are going to have some interesting Halloween costumes, I guess, maybe, but I anticipate a lot of Halloween babies, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who are, spending a lot of their time inside doing the only thing that they maybe could have done in the middle of a storm. Yes, the New Orleans baby boom of 2025. It might not even be just the New Orleans baby boom, because we had snow all the way across the Panhandle. If you've seen the Pensacola, Panama City post, it's crazy. Just all across the South, you have snow that we weren't expecting, and people are being told to stay in. And well, when people are told to stay in and you have things to do, well, there you go. So yeah, again, that is a lot of snow. Yeah, Michael McAndrews, I'm in North Michigan, we get snow, but New Orleans, yes, that was New Orleans. That's how we were. That's what we currently have still. Like, the dogs are still loving to run out. They're really enjoying the snow that's out there, running around. I think my little, I can't say the little puppy anymore, because my younger puppy is bigger than my older puppy. He's gotten taller, and he has a gigantic tail. It's ridiculous. Knocks everything over. But that being said, they just have been loving running around and playing around in the snow, wrestling in the snow, which means they come in all wet and have to go immediately back in their cages, because nobody needs to get that all over the house. But it's been a mess, plus dealing with all the other stuff that we've been dealing with. So anyway, so that isn't going to melt soon. It's going to be 60 on Saturday. That's the other thing. New Orleans 7-day forecast. Like tonight, it's going to be freezing. Tonight, it's actually might drop below 20. Currently, right now in New Orleans, the current temperature in New Orleans is 33 degrees. But Thursday, low of 31, high of 43. Friday, low of 31, high of 45. Okay, I was a day off. Saturday, low of 45, high of 52. Sunday, low of 54, high of 65. So if it hasn't melted by Saturday, it'll be melted on Sunday. And if it's not melted on Sunday, guess what? Monday, low of 53, high of 63 with rain. So yes, I mean it's not 100% rain, but we have 10 to 20% chance of rain across the city for those next 3 days. 63 degrees, 62 degrees, 69 degrees. So It'll melt soon. The biggest problem, though, is the fact that any melting that it did today, if you've lived up north, I'm preaching to the choir on this one, any melting that it did today is now going to freeze, and instead of having snow on the road, you're now going to have ice on the roads. So there it is. Yeah, so it'll probably be gone by Saturday. Yes, lots of mud. And then by the time it's all melted, I'll figure out if my pool's broken. But Michael Hunt seems to think that we're not going to be broken, so there we go. We will be optimistic like Michael Hunt has us be. So, has us be. Great English on my part. See, Josh, my brother lives about 150 miles south of me and has consistently colder weather than me this year. Yeah, there was some town in Anchorage, I think it was in Anchorage, in Alaska, I think it might have been Anchorage, that basically said, we've had more snow than they have in New Orleans. There was some weird thing, I think, like at the very tip of the Aleutian Islands. Like there was some graphic, I don't know if this was wrong or not, but like the graphic had like, it was like, you know, the polar vortex everywhere, but like at the very tip of the Aleutian Islands, it was like 60 something degrees. It's like, how is that possible? But who knows? Yeah, Hedge, if Halloween still exists, yeah, that's unfortunately, that's a worry that we have to deal with. Will anything exist by Halloween? I don't know. But anyway, as normally, still haven't found a new outro song to finish the show with that could be heard anywhere. So because of that, if you're watching over on Twitch, which is probably just me, Aaron, and Orvilby at this point, you will get a hard outro. You're not going to hear an outro music. It's just going to go directly out to blankness, to the blank sounds of the ether or whatever. But again, unless something big happens that requires me to come back on and do a special episode of Liberal Dan Radio Talk from the Left, That's Right, we will be back here Monday evening, same bat time, same bat channel, 8 p.m. Central, liberaldanradio.com and twitch.tv/liberaldanradio. And then, of course, nerdydan.com on Tuesdays. And if there's sometimes it's special times where I feel like streaming on Tuesdays, be on Tuesdays as well. That's just if I feel like, you know, maybe streaming with my kids or something, or anybody else for that matter. But anyway, thank y'all very much for joining us for tonight's show. We will be back, and stay warm, stay safe, stay vigilant. And again, keep your eyes out for the new videos that are going to come out. Share them around with your friends. Let them know that any people who were trying to argue that this wasn't anything to do with Project 2025, they were full of crap. And we knew better because we watch, you know, good quality shows like House Sparks, like Trucker John, like My Dude, like Boston Brian, and like this, Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left. That's right.